after an infant belonging to two of those victims was found in a car seat in a front yard in a random person's home more than 30 miles away.
Shanley Painter, America's listening to Fox News.
Hey, it's Mike Rowe, and if you want to do business with a company that actually stands for something, switch to Pure Talk. I did. Sure, I appreciate being on America's most dependable 5G network with unlimited talk and text for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is Pure Talk's commitment to our military and to our skilled workforce. That matters to me. Save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. This hour is presented by Subaru of Gwinnett. You'll love the difference. The Morning Extra, only on Extra 106.3.
Morning, y'all. Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Tug and Los until 10. Got Dre with us, too. It is a good Friday, and we are glad that you're here. I bet the kids in Cherokee County not waking up quite as happy as we are. Oh, they're back to school today.
Why? For one day? How crazy of a schedule is that?
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, last night I was watching the Braves game, and Francoeur said his daughter, and I don't know where they are necessarily. I don't know where he lives in town, but he said his daughter, I assume somewhere out in Gwinnett. But he said his daughter was back to school today, too. And they were talking about that specific thing, like, why go for one day? And I guess just to get the madness out of the way. And then, Monday you hit the ground running. And I guess.
I guess so. I mean, at least in our area of the woods, in years past, Tug, I think you remember, they would go back on like a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They do a short week. Now, they'll go back next Tuesday. So, I mean, my daughters right now, they're sleeping in, but they know, like, the end is nigh. Okay? Yeah. Like, the summer is coming in to the end.
Dude, I'm telling you. Wasn't that, I don't know. I never dreaded going back to school. I always enjoyed, I wasn't a great student by any means, but I always enjoyed hanging out with my buds and, seeing them, kids that I didn't get to see necessarily all the time. Were you like that too? Or were you like, I can't believe it. Let's have summer forever.
I always thought it was fun. I guess it was just a little bit different. The only time I remember ever being concerned about it, and this is what's going on in my house.
Okay.
My oldest is going to be a freshman in high school. Yeah. My youngest is going to be a sixth grader in middle school.
Oh, so my gosh.
This
milestone.
is new school. So that's why it's been so concerning. For the audience out there, so I'm at the home studio. Tug is in the main studio because we actually have overlapping times this morning where my wife was going to have to be in two places at once with two girls. And so she's like, can you please see if you can work from home so you can drive one of them there? I'm like, yeah. So I'll be up at North Forsyth High School at like 10:05 as soon as we're done.
Yeah, so you have high school duty. Your wife's taking middle school duty.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Got it, man. I remember those days, and I remember it for my own son too. How exciting! I mean, it's such a new chapter, but it's such a fun chapter for both kids. Man, middle school to me was a little tougher. High school seemed like a breeze the whole time. How do you see that?
All right, so here's what happened to me. So I had a knee effusion going into sixth grade. I had suffered a knee injury, so I had to go to my first day of sixth grade, and I had to wear one of those knee leg immobilizers for the first week.
Man.
Oh, you want to talk about feeling awful when you're trying to get up and down the stairs and it being super awkward. High school, the freshman year was fine. It was when I transferred schools my senior year. I'm walking up to a new high school as a senior going, I don't know where anything is.
No.
So I've had those experiences, but yeah, as soon as you get used to everything, then it's a blast.
That's so much fun, man. I had fond memories of middle school and high school. Funny, one of the times that I went to college before I dropped out.
I love those stories.
Yeah. I was in I'd tore up my ankle pretty well playing basketball. So I was on crutches and like a cast starting college. Well, it was Dalton State College, so it was not a big school, but it's all on hills. So to get anywhere, I was having to walk up hills, on crutches, which was not easy. And the professors showed me no mercy, no sympathy whatsoever. I'm like, good Lord, man, can maybe you help me with my bag? Somebody. I mean, these are giant staircases that went way up, man. It was crazy.
This is typically how serial killer movies start, where
with a broken ankle.
Well, no, it's the guy who's faking injury on campus so he can get a little bit of extra help, and then before you know it, he's like, are you about a size 15? Get in my van.
That's right. See, that voice is the great. That's the greatest voice.
As we've suddenly turned Tug into, he's Jane Gum, he's Buffalo Bill.
That's right, absolutely. And all
hobbling around Dalton State.
For sure, absolutely. Home of the Roadrunners, 2-time national championship winners of basketball. But excuse me, ma'am. Sir, you cannot fail me on this comma splice because I will put you in my panel van.
My ankle's a problem.
Yeah, that's why I had 2 comma splices in my paper.
And now you know why Tug had to go to the Navy.
That's right, man. 2 comma splices, really. I'm not kidding. I failed my first class in college.
Oh, no.
Which was English because I had 2 comma splices. And I don't know why that was his pet peeve. You'd think because he told everybody. I mean, and he was a little he's this little man with some glasses on, little round glasses, and he probably didn't like Dalton that much. Probably didn't like me that much, and I think he felt like he was better than where he was.
Are you telling me that he didn't like his place in life, so he decided to take it all out on poor Tug Cowart?
Well, no, because I think he took it out on everybody. I think he took his.
I like it better that way.
Okay, yeah.
like finally, after years of this treatment, it was you who put him over the top, where he just finally said, "I've had it.
I've had it with you clowns, you hillbillies." No, but you would think I would have prepared more. He said, don't have comma splices. The only way you'll fail this class is if you have comma splices in your paper, your final paper. And what I do? I had 2 comma splices. I failed. I'm like, why didn't I prepare? Why didn't I figure out how the one thing I needed to focus on, I didn't.
If there's something that college does provide, and we have been talking about trade schools and that discussion, there is that time of, you're pretty much out on your own, and it's either sink or swim on you.
That's right.
That is the benefit.
Yeah,
and so it's like a little 4-year apprenticeship into the world, and you either take care of your stuff or you don't, and sometimes it's a 2 comma splices.
That's right, and I didn't, and and then I went really sink or swim in the Navy, but I swam there, so it was good. It was good. Everything turned out well. Then last night you got football back, Hall of Fame game, Chargers. And Lions, was it? Yeah, Chargers Lions. 34-7. Do you watch? Do you get into the Hall of Fame game, or do you check it out for 5 minutes?
I typically do. I didn't at all. I did see some of the pieces of information that got put out there. This is one of those games where they didn't have the chain gang, where they've been experimenting with the digital placement of the football. That was weird to look at.
How'd it work? Did it work well?
I mean, it worked, but it's all the same thing. It's where you spot the football.
Yeah.
And so the refs are still spotting the football. So even when the play comes to an end, it's not like the digital plant is in the football and says, here's where it is.
Yeah.
The ref still spots it, and then the digital markers take over. So, but it was a little different, but it was fine. Like I said, imagine a technology that isn't 2 guys holding sticks with a chain between them.
It does seem antiquated just a little bit. Because I mean, it seems like they would just, if they're going all in, they would go all in, put like some sort of GPS device in the skin of the football or so. You know what I mean?
Yeah, long been discussed. Long been discussed that you have the technology to do this. It's just
so why do it halfway?
Awkwardly, like imagine this. Imagine that you go to watch a Major League Baseball game, you go to a Braves game, and there's no home plate umpire.
Yeah.
That would feel weird.
It would,
something I see all the time. The chain gang is something you see all the time. Here's the down markers.
Yeah,
here's
sure.
first down. That's and so I think that's just part of the game that's now going to be possibly down the road that's going to go away.
Yeah, no doubt. It was like the changes they made in Major League Baseball when they made the bases bigger, and then you can't. They got the pitch clock, and I gotta tell you, man, I thought I'd hate all that stuff, and I've really not cared that much. It hadn't bothered me. It hadn't changed necessarily.
I love the pitch clock.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I was dead against it. I mean, just me, old traditional me, was like, no, I don't want. This is a terrible idea. And then turns out it wasn't.
College ball me wouldn't have really cared for it, only because first off, I always worked fast anyway. But if I ever found myself in like a 2-0 count, it would immediately, all right, step off the mound.
Yep.
Like, what did you do? Take a second here. All right, let's get back up here. I would have been burning time out, like every other inning. I've been like, I need a second, man. I got a 2-0 count here. I need to kind of compose myself a little bit. So there was that. By the way, did you see the ridiculousness that was the Braves game last night?
So I went to bed before it was over, but when
you foolish man!
I know it was like a.
It was 11-3.
I went to bed 3-3.
All right. It was 3-3 when you went to bed. The Braves have a monster inning. I believe it's either in the 6th or the 7th. It gets to 10-3, and at 10-3, I start checking out. I'm like, all right. I was like, we're good. This is going to be put to bed. Not a problem. I put it on a documentary on History Channel. Then I start seeing the alerts on my phone. Yeah. Then it turns into... Seriously, you're in an 11-11 ball game. They blew an 8-run lead. Now, they still ended up finishing things off, and they were able to win in the 10th. They got a fortunate base running error by the Reds that set them up to get the win in the bottom of the 10th. But, that's how bad this thing is, where you won, but you also blew an 8-run lead with 6 outs to play.
That's right. I'm not sure this is...
what a season.
Yeah, it just seems... like just kicking the junk all the time. You know what I mean? It's just
it was last night, and that's the problem. Is that they're in a position because of the injuries to the pitching that are so extensive that there's nights where you're putting guys out there that have no reason to be at the major league level.
Yeah.
And so what do major league hitters do to guys that are really AA, AAA, 4A type of pitchers? They hit them, and especially late in games.
Yeah, no doubt. And we got plenty of that going on. And tonight's the Motor Speedway race, isn't it?
I was going to say, is that Friday or Saturday that we have that?
Okay, it could be. I don't know why I thought it was.
Yeah, I was going to say, because that's going to be, it's supposed to be the Spencer Strider start, but I'll take a, I thought that was supposed to be the Saturday night game that we're getting.
Second on the second, today's first. Yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my head around the logistics of doing that, and I understand the location, because you have you're close enough that Cincinnati fans could travel, because you're right there on that Virginia line. You could get some Cincinnati fans down, and then it's it's not terribly far if you wanted to have a cool experience for Braves fans, and then plenty of Braves fans in Virginia. It's certainly part of Braves country, and always has been with those minor league teams there in Danville over the years. It seems like an ideal location. Just the setup. Have you seen the setup where they laid the field, and it looks so weird? It
does look very strange. For those of you in the radio audience, turn to look at your radio, and we'll flash a picture for you.
Yeah.
It's actually at the end of the infield, and so when you think about here's a giant oval track. And it looks like they've basically set up the entire field on like the last, I don't know, like 1/10 of the infield.
Yeah, it looks odd. Just do a quick Google search, you'll see it, and you'll see.
Like I would imagine, I guess the best way I can suggest it, and I don't know if it's turn 1 or 2 or turn 3 or 4. But that's what it looks like. The field is set up on the first two or the second or the third and fourth turns on the track, and so the oval just kind of wraps around the ballpark. It's just really strange to look at, but it might be really cool. It looks kind of like a cool setup.
Yeah, maybe. We'll have to.
This is a league that gave us the Field of Dreams game like a couple of years ago.
I love that one.
Where they had guys who come out of the corn.
Yeah, dude, I love that one. Yeah, you can call me corny. Fun as
so it's like we get a little bit of that stuff. So this is, I guess, the next version of it.
The one that they did a few years ago that I thought was the best is when they did it up in North Carolina. Was it? Fort Bragg, where are they? Anyway, they did it on the military installation, and they made it all about, our men and women in uniform, and that one's the one that I loved. I thought that was great, and I wish they would bring that one back. The Bristol thing's fine, but it just doesn't feel like it means anything. It's like, hey, we're going to stick it here in the infield of a racetrack just because. That's
what it feels like to me. It feels like, can we do it, and why? Well, just because. We want to see if we can. It's very similar to when, I don't know if you ever watched any of this stuff, the start of the college basketball season. At one point, the college basketball season used to always start with the Maui Classic.
Yes.
And so you would have all these great teams that were in Hawaii. Then it turned into, we got to trick this thing up a lot.
That's right.
That's when we started having games on aircraft carriers.
Which I got to tell you, the old Navy guy in me.
The old Navy guy was like, it's like they're seriously playing on a freaking aircraft carrier.
I thought that was so cool, man. That was my favorite. Apparently, logistics on that one was pretty tough. So
I would imagine so.
They kind of pulled back and not doing that. But dude, see, Knoxville News, which looks like a imprint of USA Today, said they've sold 85,000 tickets to the Braves Red game.
Oh, it's going to be massive, yeah.
85,000.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's like a college football game,
That's what's going to be crazy about it. It's going to have the look of, wow, you doubled up. I mean, a big Major League Baseball stadium these days, because everyone tries to stay right around 40,000. That's
right.
like the sweet spot.
Yeah.
A big stadium is like 50,000.
Yeah.
So what happens when you add another, 30,000, maybe an additional 40 if you get there?
Yeah, it's incredible. Fort Bragg is where that was in North Carolina when they did that. The Braves played up there. A few seasons ago, maybe it feels like
what was it? 3? Yeah, 2 or 3 seasons ago.
2016.
16.
Yeah. Okay. Even further than that. Never mind.
Yeah. But still,
I thought it was cool. Yeah, I do remember that where they had that one set up on the base.
Yeah, it was cool, and then it kind of reflects that with the basketball games on the aircraft carrier. So we'll see how this thing plays out tomorrow. Maybe, and it would be better. I think it would probably be better if the Braves had a better season. You wouldn't be so you wouldn't be looking for a reason to be mad, and at this season, I feel like I'm looking for reasons to be mad.
I spend every Spencer Strider start thinking to myself, that poor guy is now throwing, 95 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And you see how people now sit on his breaking stuff because Spencer Strider at 95, that's not 100.
Yep.
And he just looks out there like, what if I had my regular stuff?
Yeah, exactly right. Does he ever? Do you think he can ever get back? Because I don't feel like once you drop down, it's tough to go back up.
Although there's some guys that when they have Tommy John surgery, they come back throwing harder, given that now everything is tighter in the elbow. He just looks like a guy that can he work back to that? Maybe a mile an hour or two. I don't think he's going to suddenly jump back to that 199 mile an hour guy.
It feels impossible, and that makes me sad for Spencer Strider. But this season, I just I don't know what else to say about it except for. Because that's what it feels like.
Well, you'll get a cool visual Saturday.
Yeah, exactly right. Something to look forward to, I guess. The only thing that made it better if they had some racing going on during the game.
That and back to school
baseball
kids
goes through somebody's windshield.
Yeah, exactly right. And you're right, Lowe's, and back to school, exactly. Jobs, AI, and the economy, some of the topics that we'll cover with U.S. Representative Rich McCormick from Georgia's 7th District. We'll talk to him next on Extra 106.3.
The Morning Extra, Neil Bortz, and The Kimmer Show are all online for you anytime at thepodcastpark.com. Plus all of Extra's exclusive podcasts like Ben Burnett, Janelle King, and so much more. All at thepodcastpark.com. Presented by Associated Credit Union.
There are so many things that we could talk about because I had to go find me a little jacket this morning. It's so cold in the studio. Somebody paid for that air, though, and you want to keep it in. They got nice energy efficient windows here at Dickey Broadcasting Company at the Battery Atlanta. So, the reason is they keep that cool air in that they paid for. Now, if your home isn't as lucky, maybe you got those old windows that you need to get changed out, you could get them and save 10% with Southern Exteriors. Now, if you're like, I don't need 10% off. What if the offer was then 12 months, 0% financing? Would either of those, would they pique your interest? any way it goes, you can get one of those too if you need those new energy efficient windows, but not just windows. You can get energy efficient doors that will give your home a facelift. Windows and doors look amazing. We've done them in our house in the last few years, and we love them. You got rain coming in that automatically makes you go, is the roof going to hold up? Does it need to be repaired in some places? Well, they can do that at Southern Exteriors. Or does it need to be replaced altogether? They can do that too. Great folks down in Jackson, Georgia. They have been serving Atlanta, Metro Atlanta, for a long time, since 1999, as a matter of fact. And you can rely on them because they do what they say they're going to do. They'll shake your hand, look you in the eye, and get the job done. Here's how you reach them, 877-9-SOUTHERN, or their website is southernexteriors.co.
I'm Ashley Dvorkin with a Fox Celebrity Profile with Grammy-winning frontman of Matchbox 20, Rob Thomas. Thomas is hitting the road for a 25-date solo tour and releasing his 6th solo album, All Night Days, in September.
And I find as I got a little bit older, I really enjoyed the joy and I really enjoyed the optimism side of life. And so I have a lot more of that in the work that I'm making now. And I'm exploring the light side a little more than the dark side these days.
Thomas says this latest tour brings a more personal energy to the stage.
There's something very exciting and you feel a little untethered more when it's your solo world because you have this responsibility. I've shaped the show. I've been working with the lighting design. I've been working with how we're going to present it, working with the band, controlling the set list and everything.
He's also celebrating 2 major anniversaries.
So this year is the 20th anniversary of my first solo record. Next year is the 30th anniversary of the first Matchbox record. So it's like these big milestones back to back.
Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
The Dean's List with Janice Dean.
A wife who saved her husband in a hiking accident in Alaska makes today's Dean's List. Kel Morris was on a hike when he was suddenly caught in an avalanche of boulders with a 700-pound rock that crashed onto his back and pinned him face down in an icy creek. His wife, Jo, who is a retired Alaska state trooper, acted fast and held her husband's head above water to prevent him from drowning. She was then able to use rocks to shift the boulder to make sure her husband could breathe, and then hiked hundreds of yards to find cell service to call 911. A rescue mission was then put into motion, and emergency crews had a Herculean task ahead of them. Once they got him out, he was close to unconscious and was hoisted by helicopter to an ambulance. Thankfully, Kel has recovered, and he thanked everyone who helped keep him alive, including his wonderful wife, who he is so grateful to God for. Janice Dean, Fox News.
It's August 1st, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. Today is known as Dogust 1st. It's the universal birthday for shelter dogs, set in 2008 by North Shore Animal League America. George R.R. Martin's Game of Thrones debuts in 1966. Decades later, it was turned into a smash TV series by HBO. Anne Frank was just 15, hiding out in Nazi-occupied Holland with 7 others in a secret room. Writes her last entry into her diary. She died in 1945 from typhus at Germany's Bergen-Belsen concentration camp. Born on this day in 1819, the author of Moby Dick, Herman Melville. And Francis Scott Key in 1779, he wrote the national anthem. And the rocket's red glare. Country singer Luke Bryan doing the honors at the 2017 Super Bowl on Fox. I'm CJ Papa. That's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your Georgia headlines for Friday, August 1st. Marietta City school students head back to class today. AAA is urging drivers to practice safe driving. The recent survey reveals that 70% of Georgia drivers pass through a school zone every day, and 40% of those drivers admit to speeding through those school zones. 28% admit using cell phones in a school zone while driving. Speed cameras in school zones have been reactivated. Cobb County students go back to class on Monday. A grand jury indicted Cobb County Superior Court Clerk Connie Taylor. She's facing charges of destroying public records and violation of oath of office. Taylor allegedly pocketed thousands of dollars in passport fees and later directed an employee to delete emails related to passport revenue. She's paid the county back over $80,000 and served as court clerk in Cobb County since 2020. Today's weather cloudy with temperatures in the low 90s. We've got scattered storms again today, and those storms will be with us through the weekend. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
We welcome Dr. Rich McCormick, representative of Georgia's 7th District.
Our representative, sir.
He is our representative, exactly right. I didn't want to brag about it, because then it sounds like we just got him on because he represents the both of us. And that's not the case. We just love talking to Dr. Rich and know there's so many things that are happening in America right now. But I got to tell you, Dr. McCormick, the thing that stands out to me is how much Donald Trump is winning for America. And obviously, you and the Congress and the Senate, you all have a big part in that. But we are winning at a level that I don't know that I've ever seen. Do you feel that way? Do you see that as the interaction with people? Do they feel that too that you talk to?
I do, and I'm. It's funny because I'm a pessimist by nature. I mean, that way you're never disappointed. But when I look at the things that Donald Trump has done and how he's outside the box, how he's done things that we've been worried about for decades. I remember growing up as a kid and hearing about trade deficits and trying to wrap my arms around that in a simple way. And what he's done individually, I mean, even collectively to countries around the world to bring them to the table and actually give us better. I mean, it's Trump 2.0. I mean, the first presidency went well. This one's just killing it. And what he's going to do to affect the deficit, what he's going to do to affect the economy, what he's going to do to set us up for a lot of success is just tremendous. Although we do have some things that are looming over us that I don't know how we're going to get out of, and that's the debt and deficit, which we can talk about how tariffs are going to affect that and how it's not going to affect it. But overall, I mean, he's getting an A-plus rating from just about everybody, and the Democrats don't even know what to criticize right now. They're just making stuff up.
Congressman Dr. Rich McCormick is our guest on the Morning Extra. Let's go right there, sir. Because this tariff policy, when it was coming into effect, and I remember on April 1st, you know, I'm somebody with a couple of business degrees. I said, I'm going to wait and see. Let's see how this plays out. Some of the analysts were talking about this is going to sink the economy, yet we're seeing this record number of revenue that keeps coming in. You know, what is the future of this policy, and how has it affected kind of the outlook of what the Trump plans are when it comes to the economy?
Well, for those people who don't understand how tariffs work, it basically is a tax. It's just a question of who's paying for it. Technically, so far, businesses kind of eaten the inflationary cost. In other words, they're taking it out of their profits, and so we haven't really had to pay for it. Now that may change over time, and it may become inflationary. But so far, all it's done is produce a ton of surplus. They're projecting about $300 billion in extra revenue into our budget, which is something we need because right now we have about a $3 trillion deficit per year, which is horrible. And it's going to go up next year, unfortunately, even with a big, beautiful bill, by about $416 billion more of deficit spending. Now, a lot of part of that is the SALT, which for people who don't know, is basically when you can deduct your state taxes from your federal taxes up to a certain point, and we just increased that up to $40,000. That comes at a hefty price tag of over $300 billion over the next several years. And but it's something we have to look at because that's going to affect us big time down the road. But so far, the tariffs have been nothing but a great benefit to the way we look at our budget.
Dr. Rich McCormick on the Morning Extra, Tug and Los until 10. Dr. McCormick, you talked about the deficit. So let's talk about that because yesterday Jerome Powell did not, and the Fed did not drop the interest rate. And Donald Trump spoke to that specifically, saying $365 billion if they would have just dropped it 1 point over a year. If they were playing, because this feels like very political to me, and I'm no expert on the Fed, I'm no expert on economics, but it feels very political to me. This was the only way that they could limit Donald Trump, only way that they could limit his success. And then it really speaks to what you're talking about, paying off that debt for the United States, but then for people that have credit cards and want to buy houses too.
That's the full effect of deficit and debt. When you talk about the interest payment we're paying, which is over $1 trillion, and just paying debt on that almost $37 trillion of debt that we owe, and the Federal Reserve, for the people who don't understand how that works, is neither federal nor is it reserve, and it's not going to bail us out in the end. We, the States people are going to bail out the United States. When you drop the interest rate, you pay less interest. It also helps you buy your houses and all those things. The thing that Powell's going to lean on, and I don't think he's going to be around much longer, by the way, but what he's trying to lean on is that he doesn't want to superheat the economy. I mean, we do have a lot of money that's going to be coming back into the United States. President Trump's doing a great job of that, by the way. That's going to produce a ton of jobs. But the other side of that, too, is when you've been downgraded twice in 2 years, which we have been, we've had two agencies that grade each currency, and because we're so far in debt right now, that actually has affected our currency and our ability to borrow from other people. Now, if you drop it too low and people don't get the interest, then they're not going to borrow. They're not going to give us the money. They're not going to lend us the money to borrow, such as Japan. Japan has about $1 trillion they've invested in the United States in Treasury bonds, and that kind of buoys up our debt problem. But right now we're kind of upside down, where you have higher interest of the short term than the long term, and that can cause some problems too. So it's not as simple as people think. And there are definite advantages to having a lower interest rate, but there are also some things we need to be careful of. So these are 10-pound brain kind of people going at war, and it's going to be interesting. The good news is, like I said, there are hundreds of billions, actually trillions of dollars going to be coming back into the United States economy, invested by other countries that are going to help us grow our economy, grow our jobs, and that's going to help us dig our way out of this deficit spending also.
Congressman Dr. Rich McCormick is our guest on the Morning Extra. Let's talk about your line of work. The BBB gets through, a big victory for Donald Trump. What is next on the horizon for the Republicans in Congress?
Well, I think now that we're done with that, we have a reconciliation package to do. We're going to, at the appropriations bills, we already passed the defense side, which is a huge spending part. It's about 15% of our budget. But we have 12 appropriations bills to pass in order to not do another CR, continuing resolution. If we do a CR, it's essentially the Nancy Pelosi era budget all over again. We haven't done anything substantial to cut that. And so that's the big fear. And mark my words, it's not going to be an easy lift. Even though we have the House, the Senate, and the White House, not passing ACR is actually a really hard thing to do, as it turns out, because the Republicans haven't passed something other than a CR in decades. So to do it the right way is going to be a tough lift, and that's where President Trump is very good at twisting arms, and hopefully we get it done. But one thing we cannot do is default and make sure we don't shut down and freeze out the government, because that could be catastrophic to our economy also.
Dr. Rich McCormick on the Morning Xtra, Tug and Los. I want to ask you about something that could really benefit, because you talked about how Donald Trump's having to twist arms and get things done. Redistricting. We see it out in Texas. There could be some redistricting done there. Greg Abbott's talked about it, and the Republicans could gain 5 seats in the House. Boy, that would be beneficial. Down in Florida, same thing. Do you see that as something that we could do in Georgia? Is there something you could do to help push that along? Maybe put Georgia in a better position to have more representation?
So that is a state issue, not a federal issue. We have to be very careful not to cross lines, and I hate to weigh in on this too much. And it's a double-edged sword, by the way. Remember when Newt Gingrich was one of the only Republican congressman in Georgia, they tried to redistrict him out. They ended up with 4 Republicans instead of 1. So we have to be careful we don't get too aggressive, because, yes, it may benefit you in the short term, but in the long term, it may lose you a lot of seats, too. Texas is probably the easiest place to do, because it's a huge population, the biggest state of population that has a Republican-leaning population. But remember, it wasn't that long ago that Ted Cruz had some issues in that election, and we got to be careful. That's all I'm saying. I have several friends. As a matter of fact, Texans are very close to me. Ronnie Jackson, Beth Hendine, Pat Fallon, some really good friends of mine that are down there. They're not too worried about most districts are going to be fine, but there's a couple of them. By gaining 5 seats, you're going to make them very vulnerable in the near future, and so that's just something that we have to be aware of. In Georgia, we kind of maximize our potential for the future. I think we stabilized it. We can maybe eke out another one, but once again, careful what you wish for, because you get it now, and later on you're going to be paying for that. And we've seen that in Georgia, both for and against us in the past. So we just have to be really diligent in letting the states kind of run that. I know President Trump is going to put his thumb on the scales. There are some states like Florida, their Republican base has expanded massively by double digits. Texas is not quite as sure-footed as that, but you just have to be picky and choosy which states we do that with. And realize, too, California has some very good laws to balance that out when they reapportion, but they may change those laws in response to what's happening in Texas and Florida and others. So they may gain some Democrat seats there.
New York and California both looking at doing something very similar, and that would benefit Democrats, Los.
Dr. Rich McCormick is our guest right here on the Morning Extra. I want to ask about, we're looking to get, obviously, the expenditures from this government under control and to re-privatize this government where there's more money in there for the private sector. And I continuously hear this from younger people about what this will mean for their future. Being that the young people broke so hard for Donald Trump, young men especially, how much of a focus is there, or is there people in Congress realizing that this economy has to start serving younger people better than it has been?
That's exactly right. And it's funny to watch the Democrats try to find their footing with young people. They're not connecting at all, and they're picking all the wrong fights. I think the American public has kind of woken up to this idea that the economy is the most important thing that has ever driven the American population. When Bill Clinton was running, it was the economy, stupid. As a matter of fact, I'll go back all the way to Calvin Coolidge 100 years ago. One of my favorite lines of all presidents is, "The business of America is business." We need to make sure we have cheap, affordable energy. We have lots of jobs that drives the revenue stream that supports everything else, that makes everybody happy. It keeps them from doing criminal activity. That's something that we've connected with. Youth want to have, this generation of youth is actually libertarian for the first time in American history. In other words, they don't want you in their business and they don't want you in their personal life. That's the future of politics, and I think we have to play to that. And I think it's actually the way our Constitution was designed anyways.
Dr. Rich McCormick, our guest on Extra 106.3 in the Morning Extra. What about helping those kids coming out of college with jobs? Because that's another issue. Because I have a kid that's a rising junior. You talk about the economic part of it. Not having a job is a real problem, especially with young men right now. We talked about it on the show earlier today, and I even look at it for my own family, for my own son. What is it that you see that we have to do? Because we're battling AI, we have all kinds of real obstacles.
Yeah, the marketplace is changing dramatically,
really quickly.
AI is a concern. It will be more of an enhancement than a replacement, though. I think you're going to see businesses actually become more efficient, more profitable, and create more jobs all simultaneously. It's going to for example, me as a doctor, you're not going to replace me as a doctor, but it's going to make me make a much better note. It's going to help me with treatments. It's going to make me bill more efficiently. Maybe eliminate some billers, some delay in reimbursements from insurance companies. But the companies, the early studies that we've seen so far is companies who lay off people thinking the AI are going to replace them end up hiring back most of those people because it's just not going to replace people. It's going to make you better. It's going to make you more efficient. I think we're going to have to adopt our market. We need to look at our education system all the way around. We still need people. We're going to be plumbers and electricians. You're never going to replace them with AI. By the way, if you're listening, guys, out there, and you're looking for the next future, you're going to make as much as a doctor. You're never going to be replaced. There are things out there we need to adapt our education system to. We have an antiquated system where people coming out of college with degrees they'll never use, with tons of debt. That's not a way to look at preparing for a future. If we have the results that we're going to have from Great Britain and Europe and all the other countries investing in the United States, hundreds of billions of dollars, literally trillions of dollars, we should have an economy that's booming. There should be plenty of jobs. And by the way, that forces the minimum wage up without being artificial. And because everybody's going to be competing for employees, not for jobs. And that's going to force the price point for everybody up, and we're going to have a really high living standard still. And I think that's the magic of what Trump's doing right now.
And to reinforce that, as Dr. Rich McCormick is our guest right here on the Morning Extra, when Microsoft says they need 3,000 additional engineers, we have an industry that says we need 500,000 electricians over the next several years. I mean, it's completely different in terms of growth and availability of jobs.
And that's what we're not preparing for. I love technical schools. But I told my middle son the other day, he's going to be doing an apprenticeship for being an electrician. And what's funny is he wasted 4 years of college before he did that. Now he got great grades, fine, but you didn't know what you're going to do with that degree. I told him right off the bat, I'm like, I'm not a prophet, but you can kind of see how the economy is going. You can see where the real money can be made. You get a couple of electricians together, you can have yourself a business, and you can make way more than the average professional, more than a doctor. And I think if you look at preparing the youth for the next generation for what the needs are out there, it's predictable, and that's the nice thing about this. But you're right, Microsoft is still hiring. We got a bunch of people hiring, and by the way, that brings up STEM education. We don't produce enough smart kids here in the United States. Our education system is not built well. We have 1 million kids from overseas, 1 million kids that are taking a substantial part of our college education, and they're not coming here for degrees in history. Nothing wrong with that, but like I said, communications or anything else that's not useful. They're coming over here to actually take our engineering jobs where they're going to have 100% placement. They're the ones that are doing computer programming, AI development, that sort of thing, and then bringing it back to their countries. This is one of the beasts that we have with the Ivy League schools. They're bringing over like a quarter of their students are coming from foreign countries, getting great educations, and then going back there and working against us. That's a problem.
Indeed it is. But I love what you said, predictable, because you can see where the boom towns, the boom markets, the boom job markets will be. Final thought here with Dr. Rich McCormick representing Georgia's 7th District. You decided not to run for Senate. Who do you plan to back? Have you made that decision? What will make you, if you've not made the decision, how will you decide? Where does that go?
You know, it's funny. In politics, friends come and go, but enemies accumulate. I got to be really careful that we don't. Yeah, it's so true. It's so true.
I will say this to you, Dr. Rich. I've said if you have 5 haters, make sure you have 5 more by next week, because that means you're doing well. But it's not always that way in politics.
You know, it's funny. I was a popular guy. You know, everybody likes Marines, everybody likes pilots, everybody likes docs. Until I went into politics, and half America instantly hated me.
Immediately, because of one letter of the alphabet.
Oh my gosh, it's incredible. People who are my friends.
Oh wow!
I mean, I'm talking close friends. People who voted for me at Morehouse, student body president. All of a sudden, like, oh, you're that guy, and it's like, wait a minute, I'm the same guy.
Yeah, right.
And this is where I think it's going to be interesting. There, obviously Kemp is weighing in. The president, I think, will keep his powder dry for a little bit. He's going to want to make sure that we don't have a bloodbath. So maybe he'll weigh in a little bit early, but you got some good candidates out there. I think I'm going to do whatever I can to help whoever comes through the primary win this.
There you go.
Obviously, we did really well in our district. We outperformed everybody, not to brag or anything like that, but we had the highest voter participation easily and the best performance over expectations. And so we have some things to add, but, the main thing is we flip these 2 Senate seats because Georgia should be a red state. We've lost 3 elections now for the Senate, and that can't happen anymore. We got to be careful of our governor's race, too, by the way.
Yeah.
If the Democrats come up with a good candidate and things aren't going perfectly, midterms are a vulnerable time for us, so we just got to be very careful.
Indeed. Dr. Rich McCormick, thank you as always for speaking to the folks in Atlanta and taking the time with us on the Morning Extra. Thank you, sir.
Always a pleasure. Semper Fi, brothers.
There you go.
Thank you.
Good fellow there, Dr. Rich McCormick. Here on Extra 106.3, Tug and Los until 10, 6 o'clock hours brought to you by Subaru of Gwinnett. When we come back, John Brennan is scared, and he should be. Next on Extra.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Friday, August 1st. The Atlanta Braves played a wild one last night, scoring 8 runs in the 8th inning and then giving up 8 runs in the bottom of the inning to the Cincinnati Reds. 11-11 was the score to the game before the Braves were able to win it in 10 innings. 12-11, the final. Game 2 of the series goes down this afternoon. It'll be Bryce Elder and Brady Singer on the mound as your pitching starters. First pitch is set for 12:40 this afternoon. You can hear that game live on our sister station's brand new app, 680 The Fan. And the MLB trade deadline came and went. The Braves did not move any of their veterans on expiring contracts. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
Hey, it's Front Office Lowe's here to tell you about a new company that is changing the way people buy their next pre-owned car or truck. As At the Honest Car Guy, they offer a completely transparent way to purchase a vehicle. You pay what he pays, plus a small honest fee. You can choose any make or model. He will search the country for the best deal out there. He'll handle the paperwork, your trade-in, shipping, and even give you the bill of sale. Friends, I've done the research, and this is a buying process that you can trust. Call 844-SHOW-ME, the number 1, or visit online at honestcarguy.com.
Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
Retirement means different things to different people. Some folks want to travel the world. Some folks want to spend more time with grandkids. For me, I'm looking forward to spending more time with my guitar. Whether extravagant and robust or simple and cozy, every retirement needs a plan. You wouldn't take a trip without directions. You have to know where you are before you know where you're going. Master Plan Retirement Consultants have helped many like you plan for their own retirement. Not only does Master Plan help you create the roadmap, they join you on the journey. So whether you want to travel the world, become a pickleball champ, or just looking for a good porch, a sturdy rocking chair, and an acoustic guitar, remember to plan well because the destination is worth it. Visit masterplanretire.com to schedule your complimentary consultation today.
Military veterans are eager to transfer their skills and experiences to civilian life, but lack trusted connections to expedite their path to success. That is, until they meet the Warrior Alliance. The Warrior Alliance goes the extra mile to reach veterans in their communities so they do not have to take this journey alone. With over 40 partners across 10 service areas, your donation goes a long way toward achieving maximum impact for a veteran and their family. Go to thewarrioralliance.org to donate today and commit to helping the Warrior Alliance change thousands of lives for the better.
Your favorite Extra shows are streaming live video from the studio on Extra 106.3's YouTube channel. Subscribe to the Extra YouTube channel and get the Morning Extra and the Kimmer Show in live digital video.
With the details coming out, being declassified by ODNI Chief Tulsi Gabbard, there are people that thought they had escaped to justice. They knew what they did. And now it's coming to light, and now all of a sudden, they seem very nervous. Even with the fake news doing their best to act like all this is just nonsense. You know, Russiagate was real. Don't believe in any of this declassified stuff. But let me tell you, there is one man that appears more scared than anybody else, and he is trying to get out in front of it, and he's talking about it, albeit there are some nervousness in his voice, Los. There's one man.
I will tell you, Tug, John Brennan has now made multiple media appearances on MSNBC in the last 24 hours. If you want to talk about a guy, the former director of the Central Intelligence Agency, who is like the top guy who doesn't have immunity, it's John Brennan with all of this. And if you didn't get a chance to see some of the information that dropped yesterday, it really was more of the Clinton end. You know, we had the Obama stuff from last week, right, and how he and Brennan, had made the decision. We don't like the intelligence report. Hillary's working on her own thing. We can add something to it. Here's what, yesterday we found out, okay, here's how far it was going on Hillary's end, to where on her end of the camp, it was, let's get this out there. And then the FBI, as they said, will put some gas on it, put some oil on it. So, this was a multi-pronged attack on Donald Trump back in 2016, and it continued, as I think we're now going to start finding out from some of the leaks that are out there. It continued even into Joe Biden having a part in this. But let's go back to Brennan, because Brennan, this was the morning portion on MSNBC when he went on. He was asked the question about being concerned, and just listen to the voice of a guy who used to run the CIA and is now wondering, am I going to prison?
The Trump administration says it's created what they call a strike force to investigate here. What are your concerns about that? Are you worried?
Well, if the director of CIA and the director of national intelligence make referrals to the Department of Justice, I think the Department of Justice has to do something to respond to it. So putting together an internal strike force, whatever, to take a look at this information is certainly, I think, understandable. But also, I'd like to think that professionals in the Department of Justice will dismiss any of these referrals because they're baseless. They really are. So again, I stand ready to continue to talk about the assessment and what we did during that period of time. There was absolutely no conspiracy, and we continue to stand behind what it is that we have said publicly.
But do you worry at all that the Trump loyalists who are installed in those key positions would find a way to punish you regardless of what the evidence reveals?
Well, I guess they're going to do what they were going to do, Anna. I just feel as though what we did was right. It was legitimate. It was based on our authorities and responsibilities. We would have been derelict if we didn't do these things. So, again, I just like to think that, again, professionals in the Department of Justice and FBI and other places are not going to carry on this, what I think is an absurd effort to try to denigrate the work of intelligence professionals as well as the former leaders.
Translation, he's fully hoping that there's enough deep state actors to save his ass.
And they're still in the government and they're still working. And you can hear he sounded like a child telling his daddy, no, I didn't throw the ball through the window, Daddy. It was somebody else. I don't know how it happened. That's what it sounded like to me.
It did it by itself.
That's right, exactly. But you could hear the tone of voice, the clearing of your throat during the middle of it. Dude, he is nervous. There were no conspiracy. And then the MSNBC anchor, she quotes one of the 5 people in this interview that was hand-selected to come to that predetermined outcome with the ICA, and says, yeah, they of course they had intel that Russia was trying to help Trump, and they never talk about the collusion part.
Right.
That's something else. It's only now, if you listen to them, well, yeah, there was evidence that Russia was trying to help Donald Trump. Never that they colluded together. It's convenient that they leave that out.
And that is the problem that they are now having with the amount of whistleblowers within the FBI and CIA that are saying this was not done above board. In fact, they took the recommendations by this agency, by the CIA and by the FBI, and threw them out the window to craft their own narrative that would allow them to do what they wanted to do.
And John Brennan handcrafted that ICA. He had selected 5 people to work on it. One of the whistleblowers that came out yesterday, according to Tulsi Gabbard, they actually threatened that person with a promotion that they were about to get. If you don't participate, you will not get this promotion. The person didn't participate and now is coming out and talking to Tulsi Gabbard. Man, you want to talk about the things we knew or we felt. I guess we didn't know. The things that we felt and we in our guts we knew was happening when it came to Russia and we came to the hoax now is being laid out and put in front of you. And this is not even getting into the emails that were exchanged, which we'll get into in another segment, because those emails are so damning about what Hillary knew, what John Brennan knew, and who was all involved. Because there's another deep state actor that and globalist, if you will, that's involved. Like I said, we'll talk about it in a different. But when you hear him speak, you know John Brennan is going, oh my God, I never thought. Los, I never thought. Because we're putting Donald Trump away. He was going away. He was never supposed to be able to get back at me.
I would point this out. So a person like Lois Lerner, who used to be, obviously a bigwig with the IRS, and she was the person who had targeted Tea Parties, and anybody who was trying to get a tax exemption status, she targeted them. And the way it all came across was, well, Barack Obama didn't have anything to do with that. She just knew what to do based on her programming.
Right.
And we all kind of went, okay, I guess that's just how it goes. You don't have to tell them what to do. They know what to do. Okay. I think we all assumed that when it came to Russian collusion and the Steele dossier. As it turns out, no, that's not what happened. They actually all talked to each other to figure out what to do.
That's exactly. They colluded. Who are you talking about? Collusion?
We actually have the paper trail.
That's right. And but the crazy thing is, you have the mainstream media that gave themselves Pulitzers for covering this, like at the New York Times. They're memory holing it, acting like it's
like
not
it never happened,
happening at all. Here's going to be the saving grace. Again, just like with COVID, the saving grace is going to be the independent journalists like Matt Taibbi and Catherine Herridge.
Yeah, it's going to be, and Matt Taibbi. It's been fun reading him the last couple of days when he's posting on X, because he's putting this stuff out there of like, oh my God, look at the paper trail. Here's what their findings were. and you have the leftist influencers that immediately go after him, and he's got the receipts. He's like, no. They actually, here's what their findings were, and he will post it in there. And what he posted was basically how you had the analysis within the CIA that, yeah, the Russians didn't have any real effect on this thing, but by the time you cooked it, here comes the next document, and here's now the new finding of what was done with, and then the corresponding emails going back and forth between everyone, whether it's the Hillary camp or whether it was obviously, basically the Oval Office, those around Barack Obama, that were all involved in planning and plotting this entire thing. This was what Peter Strzok called the insurance policy.
Yeah, it was. And man, oh man, did they ever think the insurance policy would be called in? No. They're like, oh my God, what?
And what kind of foolishness, and it really just highlights the wonder and amazement of what the Biden administration was, considering you went down to Mar-a-Lago looking for documents, you didn't find what you were going to find, and it turns out they're in a CIA burn bag.
Yeah.
Okay? And they were never incinerated.
As a guy that used burn bags in the military, because we had burn bags as well, knowing how common those things are, you wouldn't put something, if you're trying to pull off a heist, you wouldn't just put it in a burn bag thinking, nobody will run into this, it'll be fine. It's unbelievable the sloppiness that they operated with.
Well, this is what happens when the teacher's lounge gets going. This is what they did, and now they've been caught.
What Obama's intention was as the Russiagate hoax comes into focus. Next on Extra 106.3.
Stream Atlanta's only conservative voice anywhere you go with the Extra 106.3 app. Now equipped with Apple CarPlay. That means you'll always have Extra's crystal clear HD stream right on your dashboard no matter where you are. Download the all-new Extra 106.3 app now and start streaming.
Social Security was never meant to be the sole source of income in retirement. So, Coach Pete, why is it so important to have another guaranteed source of income?
Because then you're in control. If you're depending on Social Security only, that's going to be a difficult decision. I mean, how are you going to manage that? I mean, it's not going to be fun. It's all about control. The more money you have put aside for retirement, the more control you're going to have about your fun in retirement. And to me, why retire if you're not going to have fun? Make sure you have that Coach Pete's Power Plan. It's 22 steps behind the scenes, and we're going to offer this. We've seen others charge over $1,000 for plans like this. Coach Pete's Power Plan, which is a total retirement plan, which will feature lifetime income you can't outlive, ways to pay for long-term care without having a long-term care policy. Very big one, by the way. I've taken everything that we talk about, I've taken advantage of myself.
A no-cost, no-obligation comprehensive review with Coach Pete's local trusted advisor, Craig Chandler, Chandler Wealth Management. 800-419-6164. 800-419-6164.
Viking, dedicated to creating travel experiences for the thinking person, with programs designed for cultural enrichment on board and onshore. Discover more at Viking.com.
Fox Facts.
The longest day of the year falls in late June, but often the hottest days across much of the northern hemisphere are in August. That's because of what scientists call the seasonal lag. After the summer solstice, the sun's energy continues to warm the Earth's land and oceans for weeks. It takes time for all that heat to build up and then reach its peak by August. The land and water have absorbed enough heat to push temperatures higher than in June or July. One key factor is the difference between how land and water heat and cool. Land warms quickly but also cools quickly, while oceans take much longer to warm and cool, storing heat that releases slowly. This stored heat helps summer keep temperatures high into August. This lag explains why late July and August often bring the most intense heat waves and record highs. So while June has the longest daylight, it's August when the heat really settles in, giving us the true peak of summer. Matt Murphy, Fox News.
Streaming across Georgia on the Extra 106.3 app. This is WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. Extra 106.3.
Canada gets singled out. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Well, they have to pay a fair rate. It's always very simple.
And to President Trump, that fair rate is now a 35% tariff on Canadian imports not covered by a trade agreement. That's up from 25%, and it goes into effect today.
They have been charging very, very high tariffs to our farmers. some over 200%.
The president also says Canada's failed to curb the flow of fentanyl and other drugs across the border. But Prime Minister Mark Carney in a statement says Canada accounts for only 1% of fentanyl imports, and they will focus on building Canada strong. Now, tariffs on imports for dozens of other countries have been pushed back instead of today. Fox's Madeline Rivera reports they'll take effect next Thursday.
Countries with a surplus of U.S. goods see a 10% tariff. Those with a small deficit see a 15% rate. And then there's that third bucket of larger deficit countries. The officials saying their rates will be determined by a deal or a letter. Some of the countries hit hardest include Syria, Laos, Burma, and Switzerland, which exports pharmaceuticals, luxury watches, and precious metals.
That Swiss tariff will be 39%. U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee are in Gaza, visiting an aid distribution site after deadly attacks on Palestinians trying to get food and growing concerns about starvation. And then Witkoff will go to Russia next. It faces a U.S. deadline next Friday to stop the war in Ukraine or face new economic sanctions. Overnight, Russian strikes in Ukraine killed at least 31 people, injuring 150. President Trump has blamed former President Biden for that war and for inflation and leaving a mess. He responded last night.
We need to face the hard truth of this administration. It has been to ease all the gains we've made.
Speaking to the National Bar Association in Chicago, he warned President Trump will dismantle the Constitution. In Arkansas, James McGann goes to court the day after police say he confessed to murdering a married couple in front of their daughters on a hiking trail in Arkansas Saturday. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey, it's Mike Rowe, and if you want to do business with a company that actually stands for something, switch to Pure Talk. I did. Sure, I appreciate being on America's most dependable 5G network with unlimited talk and text for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is Pure Talk's commitment to our military and to our skilled workforce. That matters to me. Save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
If something happens to you, what happens to your family? Will they struggle financially? Will they be able to afford the home you built together? With Ethos, you can get life insurance coverage in minutes. Get up to $2 million in coverage for as little as $2 a day. All online with no medical exam. Just answer a few health questions. Get your free quote at ethos.com/policy. That's ethos.com/policy. Rates may vary. Billed monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
Search for the Extra 106.3 app wherever you download apps by searching XTRA 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station.
Tug and Los until 10 on a Friday. Thank God it's Friday on Extra 106.3. Glad that you're here. 404-741-1230 at Extra 106.3 across the social media platforms. Love to hear from you. Love to communicate with you there. We talk about the things that the mainstream media won't. And Carolyn Levitt went off yesterday in the White House briefing room. She let people know how she felt. She let them know how the administration felt, and slammed the White House press corps for not covering the declassified documents, showing proof of the Russia collusion hoax.
Well, the word's out.
Oh, yeah.
Don't feed this thing at all.
Do not steer clear. I mean, don't drive into the pit, please. They're flashing lights everywhere. They got people out there standing beside the road, waving their arms. Don't go. No.
Yeah, this is all coordinated. Make sure on the major networks, do not cover this story.
Interesting you say coordinated, because that's exactly what it was in the beginning when it was just coming out. How do we drop little notes? How do we leak this out so we can coordinate with the press to get the word out that Donald Trump is a Russian agent. He's colluding with the Russians to win the election.
Oh, and that was what was interesting when Tulsi Gabbard's been doing plenty of television. That's been basically how she's been going about kind of getting this news out. It's like drop the information, then follow it up with explanation on a number of different cable outlets. And one of the things she's still talking about is how involved that the intelligence agencies are still with basically our news media in order to craft propaganda that the American people then consume and then believe that that's what's going on. And so that's going to be one of the next factors. Operation Mockingbird is what she was referring to yesterday, just talking about how involved that you do have your intelligence with trying to craft a narrative by using the media to either make you think that everything's fine in the country or, oh my God, Donald Trump is ruining the country.
That's exactly right. Use the the intel community as your truth tellers, and of course they were involved in this. At least some of them were involved in crafting what was a complete lie. But they used the intel community because who can argue with that? The intel says. How can you go against the FBI and the CIA? They're the best in the world. You can't say that they're wrong about this. You would never say that. You would never go against the intel, Los.
I mean, we've had 50 years of laws against this that went away under Barack Obama, and now it's given the intelligence community full range to craft the narrative by which here's what the media is going to tell you, here's what we're going to tell you, and here's why it's the truth. And then that was only allowed until when that law was ended up being went away under Barack Obama. That was only allowed for us to do overseas in the interest of American politics. If it helped get us lower energy, lower gas in some weird country, well then great, we could use our propaganda against them, and it would make them favorable to the United States. But it was never supposed to be visited on us, and now it has been.
Yeah, they've turned they basically turned our gun against us. Is what they've done. And
especially since 2016.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And it got used, oh my gosh, to the max, got used during COVID because they were able to manipulate everything. They were able to control messages. They were able to silence people. They used the intel community to get their globalist agenda, get their evil empire agenda up and rolling, and you wouldn't be able to say a word about it because then you'd be locked out of your Facebook page.
It's wild how it worked. And so I just love right now that every single week we're learning something deeper and crazier about what has gone on in this country over the last decade.
Because they told us we were crazy.
Yeah, and then we were told, "Oh no, none of those documents exist," and I keep reading them.
Yeah, exactly. What documents? There are no documents. If there was collusion, it wasn't between Donald Trump and the Russians. It was between the Obama administration and the intel community. They colluded against the American people and against Donald Trump specifically. And all the documents say tell us that. Everything that's been laid out, and that's why the mainstream media won't cover it, because they patted themselves on the back and look how great we are. We were able to get to the bottom, and we told y'all that Russian collusion was real. We told y'all, and it was all a lie. Now, if Donald Trump were to come out and say, hey, I'm going to run for a third term, what would the media do?
Oh, they would lose their mind. And I will give you the example of what I believe has happened. And how you have to think how obnoxious, how audacious, how disgusting this is. So if Trump said, I'm gonna run for a third term, everyone would go, oh my God, you're throwing the Constitution out the window, and people would be rightfully concerned. I've even said, I've joked around about him having a third term, but I know it's not legal. It's just how it goes. What if he wanted a fourth term? Oh, hold on a second. Now we're getting into like Biden area. But again, it sounds ridiculous, does it not?
Crazy,
of course.
Crazy.
So consider that what we're now finding out from all these documents and all these drops and all this information and what he said in the past. Barack Obama had his 2 terms and fully intended to run Hillary Clinton's third term. And in fact, they had so much dirt on Hillary between the Democrats and the Russians. Because remember, we had that information breakout 2 weeks ago. All the stuff that was wrong with her. That was going to be Barack Obama's third term. Now, he got his third term under Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris was fully going to be the next puppet. That dude was planning to basically permanently entrench himself as the guy who was pulling the strings. Not just for 2 terms, not just for a third term, but for a fourth term and anything on after that.
He told you, Los, what he wanted to do.
What kind of a psycho are you when everybody else leaves Washington and goes about their business? You have to be dedicated to the destruction of this country or so in love with just the crazy, insane power. And you know that this is not a person who is of sound mind, okay? Like this is the epitome of there's something wrong with you.
Yes.
Like every president has to have ego. This one was like so interested in being permanently the leader.
That's right. And he told you, you're a viewer of serial killer documentaries. Isn't it oftentimes the
Son of Sam this week?
Yes, that's right. The Son of Sam tapes, isn't that what it's called?
Yeah, I watched it already.
Oh, have you? Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, David Berkowitz is an egotistical nut. Okay,
but that's what the point I was driving, right?
Exactly.
Egotistical nut. And oftentimes they told you what they were going to do. They would leave clues. It's almost like they wanted to challenge you to see if you could catch them.
If you could figure it out that he was the one pulling all the strings and making all of this stuff happen. Absolutely. 100%.
Barack Obama is not that much different when he told whoever it was, and I don't remember, we played it last week.
It was Colbert.
That's right. Yes, it was. It was it. That's right, Colbert. And when he told Colbert, if I could just sit in the basement, in my pajamas and just tell the person up there what to say.
Because I don't want to do all
I don't want to do the glad handing. I don't want to shake the hands. I don't want to travel to different countries.
He just wants to rule.
I want to rule. It's exactly right. And that's exactly what he did. His ego was that of a serial killer. And he told you. He outright told you and Colbert and the world what he was going to do. Listen to us. Play it again right here. You got it?
On the Morning Xtra.
I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony. I'd be fine with that.
Do I think he's a serial killer? No, but do I think he has the ego the size of a serial killer? You bet I do.
That is so wild that he would actually spend time telling you what he wants with the intention of this is what they were going to do.
That's crazy.
This was always the plan.
And it didn't matter, Los. It didn't matter who was elected because they were going to be under his thumb.
Yeah.
Hillary was going to be under his thumb. That didn't work out. They figured out a way to get Sleepy Joe in there. Joe was under his thumb. When they subbed out Kamala, she was going to be it didn't matter who it was. It could be Bernie Sanders. Or maybe that's the reason they pushed.
That's the whole reason Bernie was never part of this.
That's what I said. Maybe, exactly right. In mid-thought, I was like, well, maybe that's the reason they pushed Bernie out because Bernie wasn't going to play along.
Bernie was never going to play along. In fact, Bernie had it won in 2016 already. That was part of what was going on. There was no way that the Democrats, and especially the Obama administration and Barack Obama, was ever going to allow Bernie Sanders to get a bite at this apple. This is what is on the line right now. If you can put some of these people into prison, if you can get them to roll over on one another, you have a chance. And maybe it's even beneficial for the Democrats. We'll fix your cancer. Because your cancer is Barack Obama. Barack Obama and his DEI politics and his racial games, all of that is cancerous to America, but it's killing the Democrat Party. We can help you cut it out. It's just a matter of, are you going to kick and scream all the way to the operation room?
Yes, they are. Absolutely. And the mainstream media just going to be like, don't look over here.
Don't know anything about this.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
This is all partisan. It would be almost like me having to tell that patient with that cancer, I'm doing this for you, and the entire time they're trying to bite me.
Yeah, I know, right?
No, I want this cancer.
No, it's
I need it. I love it.
I have to have it. They carried the water for the Democrats and crooked Hillary. They awarded themselves handsomely for it. They'd have to admit a whole lot of cover-up now. That's why they cannot and will not report on it. This is why you'll never hear Brendan on MSNBC talk about anything truthful. He's going to be on there talking about how he did everything he thought he needed to do. He was doing it for you, America. He was there for you. He was trying to guide us through this horrible mess that Donald Trump had created by opening the doors for the Russians to be involved in our elections. How could he do that? I'm here to be the savior. Me and your big government, we're going to save you. Doesn't it sound familiar? Isn't it always government's going to save you? And isn't it always government that lets you down?
Well, it's like you're a child. I'm the adult in the room. I'll be here to help you. I'll fix this thing for you. It always goes back to that. And, let's face it, there are people that are more than comfortable with just constantly being told what to do and being told they'll be saved. They don't really equate the trade-off of what am I giving these people? And what you gave them was this mindset that anything else that happened in politics, including elections, didn't matter because they were in charge, no matter what.
Yeah, and we know better. We will be here, and this is something you said years ago. Presidents are temporary. We're here for the long haul. We can't be fired.
No.
As a matter of fact, until Donald Trump came into office and then started trying to fire people, and I think he's up to in total about 6, 7, 8% of the federal workforce. I think the number's about 125, 150,000. And so they've got more to do if they want to get that 10% number that they said they wanted to. But those people had no fear of being fired because they had a union that was going to protect them. They had Democrats that were going to be the mouthpiece to say, no, these people are great. These people are wonderful. Look at the great work they do, until you find out the depths of the lies of the work that those people are doing.
It's just a lot of work that this administration has. And I will say that there's something very fortunate that Donald Trump does appear to have some sort of crazy, endless energy. To now, you have people on the left, typically the influencers, are trying to push this idea that, well, there's something wrong with Trump. Well, I mean, that was, what was that? That was 2 weeks ago when it was
with the leg thing.
Yeah, with the vein issues.
Leg swell or something.
Yeah, they're trying to basically project everything that was wrong with Joe Biden onto Donald Trump.
Oh my gosh, isn't that a tactic of the left? Isn't that what they always do? Blame
projection.
Yeah, right. Absolutely, blame them for what you're actually doing.
But if you just look at it, there is something right now, and I expect something to happen today. Like, we'll probably have another document drop going on into the weekend that's probably going to make somebody like Joe Biden or somebody else who's big with the administration look terrible. I mean, that has been the game. It has been, we're going to give you something at the middle and end of every single week so that when you go home or you have these discussions or the Sunday shows, they have to cover this stuff, except for the mainstream media that won't cover anything.
And I want those people, just like I want Barack Obama, which I know we're never going to get. He's not going to get arrested. He's not going to jail. Well.
Oh, there's a possibility.
The likelihood is not good.
The criminal conspiracy would have to occur after he's out of office.
Right.
And again, if he's pulling the strings this long.
Right, absolutely. But even Trump himself said he's probably got immunity. I know that's not the way it's supposed to work.
He's got immunity for actions in the office as president.
Right, absolutely. But there's just, my gut tells me he's not going to jail. But if you can get Hillary, you can get Brennan, you can get Clapper, and the other people that should be got, the other people that deserve to be punished, are those people that went along with it knowing it wasn't right, knowing that it wasn't real. Those intel officers, they deserve to have just as much punishment because they didn't have the courage of the office and the oath that they took to say, this is wrong, I will, except for the one whistleblower that came out that Tulsi referenced yesterday that said they held my promotion over my head. That person deserves a freaking medal, and the rest deserve a sentence in prison for a really long time.
The people are consistently telling us on the left, no kings. What? Yeah. No kings. Donald Trump, no kings.
No King's Day. We're going to do a march.
They legitimately were dealing with a man in Barack Obama who thought himself to be a dictator.
Yeah. But a very likable one.
Yeah, it's very friendly. Every authoritarian is super awesome. That man fully was believing that he was going to rule this country for the remainder of the years that he's on this earth.
And
think about how crazy, that's some David Berkowitz stuff.
It sure is, that ego of a serial killer. But that's the thing, Los, is that he thought he was going to be able to drive the United States into the ground. His goal was to damage the United States, and he would do anything, whatever it took to do it. It didn't matter what collusion, it didn't matter what lies, it didn't matter who he damaged or who he hurt. It didn't matter. He was going to be the king. And he was going to see the demise of this country that isn't good to begin with. It was founded on flawed and evil principles.
That's a bad dude.
That's the way he felt about it.
That's the way he felt about it. That's the way it looks, and the way he governed. And I don't believe any of that's changed. And the only good part about that is that the only people that are still dedicated to Barack Obama, when we talk about that 18%, that's the group. Now, are there fond memories of him? Sure, but it's been a decade. But now you're starting to see more people see him for what he was now that you've had the benefit of time. And then also, he's got that situation. And the community's starting to notice it when they're calling him Mr. Obama and Mr. Obama.
Mr. Obama, yeah, that's right. The other thing, the last thing here on, as far as the media part of it, this is a group that prided themselves on taking down Richard Nixon with Watergate We're doing the work of the people. We're going to make sure that they know we're holding these powerful people in Washington, D.C. accountable. So they went from that, at least, and look, I don't believe Watergate is as big a deal as they try to make it out to be. I think there's so much murky.
Certainly not now.
Yeah, there's so much murky water there, especially in light of what we know now. But isn't it interesting, though, that when it was the Republican Richard Nixon, they couldn't wait to bring him down with Watergate, reporting, for the Washington Post, that's their crown jewel, if you will. And now, nothing. They say nothing. They're not holding anybody accountable.
Go look at the voting. He was one of the most popular presidents we'd had in recent memory at that time.
Right. Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. When we come back, the hopes and dreams of your kids and your grandkids, are they still attainable? We'll ask a couple of them that are probably about your kids' and grandkids' age. Next on Extra 106.3.
When conflicts escalate around the world, don't let the mainstream media scare you into believing their narrative. Get it right with Atlanta's only conservative voice. And trust the Morning Extra, Glenn Beck, Clay and Buck, The Kimmer Show, and our entire lineup to give it to you straight. Don't buy the fear. Just keep it here. Extra 106.3 FM and the all-new Extra app.
Good morning, it's Los. Let me tell you about my friend Tom, the Honest Car Guy, honestcarguy.com. He has been helping quite a number of you listeners out there, and he greatly appreciates it, and hopefully you do as well. How do you get a hold of him? honestcarguy.com. That's honestcarguy.com. Or give him a call, 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME-1. Now, I got a chance to meet Miss Terry yesterday. She came by the studio. You'll probably hear her in a couple of spots. Her son, who was rejoining the military in the Army, he wanted a new car, and she thought, well, okay, I keep hearing about this. Let me give him a call and give it a try. Tom was able to get that car into the driveway and have it ready, and also save her thousands of dollars in the process. That's how real it is, folks. That's what Tom does. That's what he does for you. All you got to do is let him know, make and model, here's what I'm looking for, and then Tom goes to work from there. You can be as part of the process as you want, or if you just want to say, Tom, get back to me when you've got the right deal, he'll do that as well. And once he's able to secure that car, he'll show you what he paid for it. That's your price plus the Honest Car Guy fee. That's it. That's all. Give him a call, 844-SHOW-ME-1 for the Honest Car Guy. That's Tom. That's 844-SHOW-ME, the number 1.
There's a new vibe in Tucker, and it's teeing off at Heritage Golf Links. After a multi-million-dollar renovation, the course has never looked better. From pristine new greens and bunkers to the stunning 11,000-square-foot putting green, Heritage Golf Links is ready to impress, challenge, and deliver an unforgettable round you'll come back for again and again. And when the sun goes down, the game keeps going. Our one-of-a-kind night range is lit up and open Friday and Saturday nights until 10 p.m., so your swing can shine under the lights. So, whether you're practicing, playing, or just enjoying the full-service bar and grill, Heritage Golf Links is the perfect place for golfers who want more than just a round. Heritage is a destination and a better golf experience. Reserve your tee time at heritagegolflinks.com. That's heritagegolflinks.com.
Located just minutes from downtown Atlanta, Heritage Golf Links is easily accessible from I-285 and I-85.
Fox on Tech.
Thinking of cheating at schoolwork with ChatGPT? Think again. School starts again in the coming weeks, and ChatGPT's creators, OpenAI, now have a new feature they hope will enable students to use the artificial intelligence as a way to learn, not as a way to have a machine do their schoolwork. They call it study mode, and it attempts to help students develop critical thinking by asking the students questions to test their understanding of the subject matter. And if students don't engage, the AI won't continue with their queries or instructions. Use of AI in schools is a major education policy point, with public elementary schools to elite universities making students pledge not to use artificial intelligence, and even giving teachers AI tools to sniff out who used AI to write papers and finish their math homework. Study mode is rolling out all this week. With Fox on Tech, I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your Georgia headlines for Friday, August 1st. Marietta City School students head back to class today. AAA is urging drivers to practice safe driving. The recent survey reveals that 70% of Georgia drivers pass through a school zone every day, and 40% of those drivers admit to speeding through those school zones. 28% admit using cell phones in a school zone while driving. Speed cameras in school zones have been reactivated. Cobb County students go back to class on Monday. A grand jury indicted Cobb County Superior Court Clerk Connie Taylor. She's facing charges of destroying public records in violation of oath of office. Taylor allegedly pocketed thousands of dollars in passport fees and later directed an employee to delete emails related to passport revenue. She's paid the county back over $80,000 and served as court clerk in Cobb County since 2020. Today's weather cloudy with temperatures in the low 90s. We've got scattered storms again today, and those storms will be with us through the weekend. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
We have a couple of our summer interns in the studio with us.
It's a special treat.
It is. It's something that this was not part of the original plan of the show, but the discussion has led us to it, Los.
And we only had the young people in the building for a little while longer. And so we just started having this discussion about young people and 18 to 27 and what's going on in this world. And your son is, going to be a college grad. And we went, why don't we go talk to the young people we actually have in the building to get an idea as to what they think's going on in this world with this stuff.
And so we introduced Meadow, who's 19, and Lucas, who's 24. Meadow at FSU, Lucas, a UGA grad.
And let me ask y'all this. How often have they put y'all on the air down the hall?
I haven't been live once.
This is the first time?
Yes, my first time.
Well, knocking it out of the park already.
I've been on a couple times, but it's one of those things I don't frequent often because I'll talk to Domino and I'll say the wrong thing, and it's just.
Oh, and he goes into attack mode.
It spirals.
I will tell y'all a joke real quickly about Chris Domino. So my first really big radio job was with the Chris Domino show. It was an old radio station. I was brought in from Dallas, first full-time gig. I'm 24 years old. Domino's like 30-something, and he's just mean the whole time. And so I decided I'm going to hire a bunch of interns that don't know anything about sports and have them work for Domino. And so that was the joke. So every single day he'd show up to work and complain about everybody around him, and that was the way the show worked. It was awesome. So the fact that he's finding a way to complain at you or get at you, that's actually like peak Domino. That's when he's at his best.
I feel it.
When they brought you in, what did you talk about?
Well, I had grabbed like a page from the printer, and if you know him, he prints like 30 million documents. And so he's like, when you bring in one page, you think I just want like a lettuce when you bring me my burger? So he kind of
got after you then.
At me, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, that's perfect.
And then Meadow, you've not been on, so what are the things that do keep you engaged? What are you interested in, I guess?
So they have me cutting up a lot of audio, scouting a bunch of stuff. I know the Braves aren't necessarily doing amazing right now, but
you're here. This is a long summer for you.
It has been a long summer. I will say All-Star's been so much fun. So that's been great being able to be a part of all that, especially being in Atlanta. It's just a fun year. But
so I want to ask y'all this, because we've had this discussion about how young people see their futures moving forward. And again, I'm not looking to get into your politics or whatever, because largely at times this show isn't even about that. It's just about talking about different issues. And I want to start with you, Lucas, because you're a recent college grad. You're a Georgia man. Obviously you have an interest in being in this industry. Whether it's yourself or other people what has been the job market for young people? Because one of the things that the numbers we get into, young men have a higher unemployment rate than everyone else in the marketplace. It's hard for young men to find positions.
Yeah, I've struggled, pretty good for, someone that I would say does like have a college degree and like I did good in school. Like I have, some extracurricular stuff and I put it all on my resume. I've created like 5 different resumes and I've sent them out. And it's just tough sledding out there. It's just a lot of just rejection.
Is it disheartening? Is it frustrating?
I'd say it's frustrating because I feel like any job, if you just have an opportunity to like get your foot in the door, then you're like you can work with something, but it's hard to even get that foot in the door to begin with.
So tell me, Lucas, what was your major and what is it that you want to do? Like what industry are you looking in?
Well, I'm a journalism major. I minored in criminal justice. I did the sports media certificate program there at Georgia. And so, I mean, sports media is really the industry I'm trying to get into.
But criminal justice, like, that's pretty well-rounded as far as the direction you were looking to go here. As far you didn't put your eggs all in just one basket, clearly.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely, I kind of would preach, like, trying to, like, broaden your horizons, be as, like, moldable as you can be.
Absolutely.
And it's even then, it's still like I've looked down different rabbit holes of, like, I'm not just sports media, I've tried just media, and even there it's kind of still a tough path to just get into, just to start on the ground level.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Bring in Meadow, 19, FSU, going into your sophomore year.
Yes, sir.
What is your path of study? What do you want to do?
So I'm looking into double majoring right now. My first major is going to be marketing. My second one's undecided. I was looking into going into the sports management world, like you were saying, though. That's kind of like a very niche major. And I'm really not sure about what the job market's going to look like when I graduate in 2028. So I'm looking into maybe, like, my double major could possibly be more of like a communications, PR, mass media, just so I have more options and not just putting all my eggs in sports.
So that's the wild part about this. And again, we're joined by Meadow and Lucas, working over in our building, a couple of young people in here, because we've been talking about how young voters voted a certain way and whether or not you can hold on to them. And I bring this up with you, Meadow, because you talk about, hey, I'm in marketing, and that's marketable. Mm-hmm. If you decide another major to go along with it, what I would say is make it as business-oriented as possible.
Okay.
Only because of this. One of the things we're seeing is that the communications majors are having such a difficult time right now.
Really?
And with the rise of AI, I'll just say this. So my wife ran a magazine for 20-something years. She's a Georgia grad, used to run the Red and Black and all the stuff you're supposed to do at Georgia. She was the one who was doing it. Now when she started working on some of her updated stuff, an updated resume, some things like that, she used AI. Now, this is a woman who's written for a living for 20-some years, and she was like, this is how you do it. AI is going to eat up so much of those communication things. So it's really about what is that specialty field. So, Lucas, when you talk about like criminal justice to go along with some other deals, I don't think you have to worry about AI eating away at what you're looking to do.
So then the next step is, let's say you continue to struggle a little bit. Is a trade in your future? Do you feel like a trade school is a possibility? Because we were talking with Dr. Rich McCormick, U.S. Representative from Georgia 7, where both of us live, Los and I, and Meadow too. Where do you live in town?
I live in Gainesville, Georgia.
In Gainesville. So I think you may
it's a possibility he might be a representative as well.
His son just graduated from college, or was getting ready to graduate, and he said, no, he did. He said he graduated because he got a 4-year degree.
Yeah.
And now his own son, as a U.S. representative, is going to a trade school.
To learn to be an electrician.
After getting a degree?
Because it's 6 figures right off the top. It's crazy. We have a need in this country for 300,000 electricians. Now, here's the problem with this. I have 2 degrees. You're going to have a degree. You already have a degree, Lucas. And yet, the growth in this industry is in an area where traditionally our parents would go, well, why would you go do that?
Yeah.
What do you mean you want to be a plumber?
Working with your hands. And for a U.S. representative to say, I can see the arc, I can see where our economy's heading, it's telegraphed for me. So that doing a trade job, a trade school, welder, plumber, electrician, none of those have either crossed either of your minds.
I would say it's crossed my mind now that I've graduated, because I've seen a little bit of what my future looks like with a degree, and it's, I mean, like you said, you get right into it, you're like 6 figures in some of those jobs, and it's just one of those like there's a need for it.
Do you feel like you were promised this is how the American dream works? This is like, as you said, I did well. I was in activities. I took care of what I was supposed to.
Made good grades.
I made good grades. Yeah. And then here's what the result has been, because a portion of that happened a little bit to me when I was coming out of school. It's accelerated. Like, it's so much different. It used to be when my parents were coming up in the world, it was, you got out of high school and somebody just threw money at you and you went and bought a house and did your stuff from there. It's like, and then that kind of changed when I graduated. Now it's really changed now that you've graduated.
Yeah, in a way, it's kind of like what you like when you kind of said disheartening. I feel like that's the word to use for that aspect of it, just because I can sell myself if I had some crumbs, if I had like a little bit of something I can like work towards, but just I'd say the vast amount of nothingness,
the prospects. Yeah.
It's like you don't know where to go.
Because of that, we'll start with you, Meadow. Have you thought about when one day you might buy a house? Like what age does that look like?
Yeah, what does that happen with people your age when they talk about that?
Going into your sophomore year.
So, like, even right now with rent, like, my rent goes up every single year, so...
If you don't mind, like, can you give us an idea? Like, what size of a place are
just
you
in general.
Are you off campus?
I'm, like, across the street from campus, 4-bed, 4-bath. My rent is about $1,200 a month.
And do you have 3 other roommates?
3 roommates, yeah.
You pay it, parents pay it?
My parents pay it.
Okay.
I will just let you know, I had and this was off campus in Dallas-Fort Worth. We had a 3-bedroom, and the wild part about it, so one guy was getting ready to join the military. One guy was actually in the police academy. They were both graduates. They both had their 4-year degrees, both going like officer training school, everything else. I still had a year left. We paid $999 in total.
Yes,
it was $333
in total. In total.
Yeah.
And if I showed you this apartment, you'd be like, "Oh my God, it's just exploded."
Yeah. The costs are crazy. What about you, Luke? Have you ever thought about buying a house?
In a weird way, my goals are very centered around me having a house one day, and I feel like some homeowners will be like going crazy. It's like having a house is crazy. It's hard. It's all that stuff.
No, it's the American dream.
Yeah, that's my kind of where I'm at. Where it's like I think a house is my ultimate goal.
Of course.
Like having my own place, my own I always say. If I can have a house and then a smoker, I will be as content as you can be.
My God.
I love that. That is my life goal here in the future.
I tell you what, you catch on around here. I'll see what I can. I've got some contacts. We can find you. I'm telling you, I have now as the vegan in the building. I will tell you that I did lose the Traeger sponsorship at one point, but I got it back when they were like, wait a minute, he still keeps cooking meat. Like, yes, I do it all the time. But yes, we'll see what we can do to get you hooked up with the Traeger once you got that space for it.
So then the next question, college debt. How much of a concern, look, as you graduated, so are you paying college debt? Meadow, are you concerned about college debt after graduation? We'll start with you, Lucas.
I was very fortunate. My dad put away money and was as a pilot, so he helped me out a big time. So I was lucky to escape debt free, and I had the hope and all that stuff.
That's great news, Meadow.
So
especially being out of state.
Yes, I'm very fortunate to be like my parents helped me out a lot, especially my dad. Very fortunate. But with that, like I also do get scholarships, and I'm working on getting in-state tuition, like applying for residency so I can avoid going into debt. I have 3 brothers, and we're all around that age of college. And with tuition prices like rising more and more, I feel like education's also becoming more like unattainable for a lot of people.
Sure it is.
Especially, I don't know, just like with rising prices. So I'm not worried about debt, but I have a lot of friends who are already...
Do they talk about how it's accumulating, or is it just kind of out of sight, out of mind? Do they consider what their major is when it comes to this?
So I've actually written multiple papers on like student debt forgiveness and like loans and stuff like that, about how like more people are taking out loans that they can't pay back. And I have friends who are starting to stress out about that and moving home and online school, because that's more attainable than having a lease, and just moving back with your parents and getting a full-time job doing online school is easier these days than attending like a 4-year college.
Meadow, it's wild you bring that up. One of the trends that we've now seen, just how things have changed. It was foreign 20, 30 years ago to go to school and then go back home.
Yeah.
Now it's the standard. It's like you finish school, you move back home until you get that job, you get on your feet. I think the numbers are somewhere in like the 70 percentile range of people that head back home until they get that next position.
Avoiding politics. Do you feel like the situation you find yourselves in at your age, graduate, rising sophomore, graduate in a few years, do you feel like the way things are trending, you talked about you're not sure you'll be able to afford a house, don't know when you will be. You're in a good situation, you don't have to pay, you didn't have to worry about college debt. But do you look at the way things are trending, the way things are, the environment you find yourself in, influencing the way you vote or will vote?
I feel like you have to, in a sense, because otherwise, you're kind of just leaving it up to like a blind faith.
Sure.
And you can have that blind faith, but at some point you have to it's like looking back at film for sports. It's like you have to evaluate what isn't working, and you have to, try and choose the best path to that will work, hopefully.
Meta.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be silly to not think about my economic future when I'm voting for who's going to be in charge of that. So when I'm looking, next time I'll be voting is 2028. I'll be fresh out of college, looking to, start buying a house, start my career. So it'd be silly to not have all that in mind.
The reason why we've brought this up quite a bit is because we've now seen, more so out of the city of New York, a mayoral candidate who said, I'll take care of everything for you. And the allure of that sometimes is getting young people. The question I think a lot of this becomes is, just because young people voted for one side one time doesn't mean they're going to keep doing it. And it's like, and until we start paying attention more so economically to what young people are going through and not just what the older group is going through, y'all historically have shown you'll flip and vote either way, just depending on what matters, what works best for you at the time.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, so because he brings up Mamdani, have y'all heard his name before? Do you know who that is?
I've seen it on Twitter, but I have not
Yeah,
I've not.
Okay, you've never even heard his name.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Is it presidential?
No, he's going to be running for mayor of New York City.
He's won the primary, and as a Democrat, more than likely he's going to be the mayor of New York. But he has policies such as
so free bus fares, free child care. He says we're going to eliminate the police department. We're going to get rid of that.
In New York?
In New York City, yeah.
Which immediately makes you go like, what?
What just happened in New York?
Exactly. So when you hear a politician talk about free, do you believe them?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Free is a very interesting word to use.
Somebody else is paying for it.
Yeah, because nothing in the world's free.
No.
Well, and the way he's driven it home is that we'll tax our local businesses. Here's what we're going to do:
tax the rich.
Yes, but there's an allure that young people in New York are finding it interesting, whereas the older people are saying, "How do I move out of here?" And so that's kind of the crazy part. It said he wants the workers to be taken care of, yet the workers will pay for this stuff too.
Mm.
So it's like you don't recognize until it's too late. He's taking your money, then he's giving it back to you. You just happen to get less of it.
It's just like repackaging it in a different sense. It's just kind of like a marketing ploy.
How would you describe the political party that talks about everything being free?
I think it's kind of just like selling in bad faith, in a way where you're just you're saying it's free, but like you just said, it is eventually someone's going to have to pay.
It's almost like he's this close to saying communism. That's what Lucas, you just described it perfectly. It's like in bad faith.
Yeah, because it can't be. Meadow, what about you? When you hear a politician go, everything's going to be free, I'm taking care of everything for you. What does that say to you?
I just don't think that, nothing can be free in the world. Everything has to be funded in some way. So when I had to do so much research on student loan forgiveness, saying your education's going to be free. Let me just forgive all these loans. Who's funding all these students going to school? Who's funding everything free that you just talked about the child care, this
Who do you think is?
It's the taxpayers.
Of course.
At some point.
You.
Exactly.
We need to get, if you're cool with it, we need to get a hold of your paper.
Okay.
So we'd love to be able to kind of review that on air and get a chance to talk about some of this stuff. Because, again, so much of this, the market conditions, it's working for the baby boomers and those people that are more likely your grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
It's working for my parents. It's not working for that Gen Z group that's right in y'all's age group. And that's the part where I'm like, if you're going to have the baby boomers taken care of, you got to have Gen Z rolling because the money comes out of y'all's pocket to fund their Social Security.
Yeah.
So then, final question for me, and we'll wrap up. Do your friends, especially, we'll talk about you, Meadow, we'll start with you anyway, your friends that are concerned about college debt, do they buy into forgive student loans? Do they believe in it? Do they support it? Where do they stand on that, do you think?
Well, when you think about it as a student and you're when you think about it blindly and you hear you get to go to school for free, I think everybody's like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. Let's jump on this. Oh yeah,
sounds great.
It's this sounds amazing. But when you think about from an economic standpoint, what is necessarily fair for people to be paying for your
school, yeah.
So
someone else paying for yours because that's what it is.
As a young person, you get to go to college for free. It sounds amazing, but I just don't know if people put a second thought into figuring out the logistics of all that.
Well, the problem is, since even people were in college 10 years ago, the college prices keep doubling.
Yeah.
And so the education didn't change. But yet, so you start doing the math on it, and you're like, wait a minute, you just graduated in 2015. Why am I paying double in 2025?
Yeah.
And then at some point, when those costs continue to go up and you finally do find your landing spot and you start working and you want to buy a home and have a family, then there's still going to be new students in school that have debt. And those people that are saying, hey, we're paying off college debt. Eventually that becomes you, right? Then you're going to look back and be like, well, wait a minute. My parents paid for mine. You're fortunate in that way. They've saved well. Do you think you'll be able to or want to pay for somebody else's college debt?
I mean, it all comes back to I'd like to pay for my kids' college debt.
There you go.
You know,
that is a responsibility. I'd like to pay for my kids' college debt.
Absolutely.
I'm right there with y'all. With me, with 2 daughters, there is a part of me that goes, hey, I'd like for one of y'all to learn how to be a plumber. But that's not exactly realistic. So now I find myself caught in this era of going, all right, when you start telling me what you're interested in learning, Dad's going to be running it through the filter of, well, that's not going to work. Well, that's not going to work. And now I'm crushing hopes and dreams. But I want them to have that better future on the other end of it.
Oh my gosh, but reality. Because it's real. You have to have those tough conversations, and I know you will. But we've taught people for so long that anytime somebody tells you the hard truth, they're evil, they're bad, this is terrible. Yeah, how could you've got to tell people the truth, and I think that's the truth. I say it on the show all the time, every day. Truth matters.
100%.
Even if it's a tough truth that you have to learn. Meadow Lucas, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on with us. This is
and when you
Morning
speak
Xtra.
of us, speak well.
Yes,
You're like,
great
actually put
first
us on
radio
air.
experience.
Oh, there we go. We need to get you a copy of it. That way you'll have it forever. And ever, and you can show it off to your friends and family. Tug and Los until 10 on Xtra 106.3. When we come back, Nancy Pelosi's insider trading meltdown. You should hear the returns she got last year. Unreal next.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Friday, August 1st. The Atlanta Braves played a wild one last night, scoring 8 runs in the 8th inning and then giving up 8 runs in the bottom of the inning to the Cincinnati Reds. 11-11 was the score to the game before the Braves were able to win it in 10 innings. 12-11, the final. Game 2 of the series goes down this afternoon. It'll be Bryce Elder and Brady Singer on the mound as your pitching starters. First pitch is set for 12:40 this afternoon. You can hear that game live on our sister station's brand new app, 680 The Fan. And the MLB trade deadline came and went. The Braves did not move any of their veterans on expiring contracts. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
Back to school means back to traffic in Atlanta. If traffic mishaps land you in trouble with the law, it's important to know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds. We handle bonds from local to federal for any jail in any city. And in most cases, we can have you or your loved one out in a matter of hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT. That's 404-BAIL-OUT. Or online at atlbail.com.
Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
Retirement means different things to different people. Some folks want to travel the world. Some folks want to spend more time with grandkids. For me, I'm looking forward to spending more time with my guitar. Whether extravagant and robust or simple and cozy, every retirement needs a plan. You wouldn't take a trip without directions. You have to know where you are before you know where you're going. Master Plan Retirement Consultants have helped many like you plan for their own retirement. Not only does Master Plan help you create the roadmap, they join you on the journey. So whether you want to travel the world, become a pickleball champ, or just looking for a good porch, a sturdy rocking chair, and an acoustic guitar, remember to plan well, because the destination is worth it. Visit masterplanretire.com to schedule your complimentary consultation today.
The only thing better than covering all these Trump wins is watching the left implode over it.
Donald Trump is entertaining the world while he's changing the whole freaking planet.
Extra 106.3 is committed to bring you the news you care about most. From Atlanta legends and conservative voices you've relied on for a generation. Proud to be Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station. Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
I'm no financial advisor, but if you get 70% returns, you should be celebrating. You should probably be able to shout it out. Now, you wouldn't be allowed to because the SEC wouldn't allow it. They'd make you have some sort of disclaimer. Jeray, do you have one of those handy?
Investments can fluctuate. When redeemed, may be worth more than originally
There we go.
invested.
So you'd have one of those. That's what they'd make you do.
So if I was to somehow be able to generate more than, I don't know, maybe 8% in a great year, 6% in a really solid year, you think that I would be getting some information I probably shouldn't have?
It does seem that way, Los, and I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but it certainly seems that, 6, 7, 8 is solid. If you get 10, you'd have people lined out the door. You wouldn't have enough time to take with all the customers if you could get people 10% returns. Nancy Pelosi's portfolio numbers alone last year, 70% returns. Good God. No wonder she responded this way when she was asked about it.
Let me just read what he said. I'm sorry that we had some sort of technical issue. Nancy Pelosi became rich.
Why do you have to read that? We're here to talk about the 60th anniversary of Medicaid. That's what I agreed to come to talk about.
But I
and
wanted
what that means in the election.
I wanted to give you a chance just to respond. He accused you of insider trading. What's your response to that?
That's ridiculous. In fact, I very much support the stop the trading of members of Congress. Not that I think anybody's doing anything wrong. If they are, they are prosecuted and they go to jail.
Yes.
But because of the confidence it instills in the American people, don't worry about this. But I have no concern about the obvious investments that had been made over time. I'm not into it. My husband is, but it isn't anything to do with anything insider. But the president has his own exposure, so he's always projecting. He's always projecting. And let's not give him any more time on that, please.
Let's not give him any more time on that. There's nothing to see here. What are you talking about? Medicaid. Jake Taffer? Why do you have the courage to bring this up with me? I'm above the fray, sir.
That is so wonderful because if you want to just talk about the difference in how this plays out. So, I've got investments in the market, but I've predominantly been real estate oriented, and that's where I have put a majority of money to then see where it grows and see what happens. Donald Trump is exactly that same way. It's not like he's sitting back and going well, I've got to move money around in the marketplace so I can see what I can make on my returns. It's no, he owns golf courses around the world. All right, he owns properties around the world. Nancy Pelosi basically sits through meetings, and then for some reason, you then have her having wild returns on her husband's investments.
So, she makes $170,000 a year, $174,000 a year, and is worth $4.5 million or $400 million. This is this astronomical number. And she's referring to, of course, Josh Hawley saying we're going to put a stop. We're going to pass a law that says people in Congress can't trade because they do get information that nobody else gets, and that's how you get a 70% return.
I really don't. This really doesn't bother me as much as Nancy Pelosi didn't make that money because she played the market well or her husband played the market well. It's really that's kickback money. That's a lifetime in Congress of. They grease your skids whenever they need.
You're talking about for the amount of money that they're worth.
For the amount of money that they're worth, there's no way. And I think Elon Musk was one of the first people that really pointed this out early on when it was asked about is Doge going to look into some of the trading practices? And as he pointed out, there's no way they would be able to make this money strictly off of trading, even if they were obviously the best traders in the world. There's no way to turn, let's say, $100,000 into $400 million unless we're talking about buying stock from 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah, it's just unreal, man.
Look, I've got Amazon, and I bought all of it.
Yeah, for sure. 100% of it. It's me. All of it's me and Bezos. It's only people that own Amazon. But that's the thing. You're right about the kickback money. But how you generate 70% from the stock market is unbelievable, dude. To think that something didn't change. You're the only one on planet Earth that's doing that.
So, Tug, I got a friend of mine who turned me on to this. I think it was maybe 2 or 3 years ago. He had actually downloaded the app that tracks Pelosi's trading. And he put like $2,000 in it. And you know what? He's done fine. All he does, you put it into the account, and whenever Pelosi trades and it's public, then at that point it trades automatically for you.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's fun money. You're just doing it to see what happens, and when you do it, you will notice that you happen to make money in a way that you really weren't expecting to.
Yeah, I mean, I love the concept of banning Congress from owning stocks. I mean, conceptually, it's great, and Donald Trump said that we should ban it. But there's so many workarounds, dude. It's going to be useless. I'm not saying you don't do anything. I'm not saying that. But to pretend you're going to stop Nancy Pelosi from telling her husband or telling her son, daughter, daughter-in-law, son-in-law, whomever, friend of the family, that about the information, and then they invested, and then she gets a kickback. It's impossible to track that.
Yeah, it's very difficult. I'm with Senator Ron Johnson. You start worrying about the amount of people that you're keeping out of Congress, because let's face it, a lot of people you want in Congress, if they have owned businesses, if they've owned big, small, whatever, they're more than likely invested in the market, and that's part of their portfolio. If you were to put a freeze on what they're allowed to trade and do, they're still going to find workarounds for it.
That's exactly right. So, hooray, Josh Hawley. I appreciate what you're trying to do. I just don't know that it's going to work. And I like Josh Hawley a lot.
Listen, I just like the pressure being on Nancy Pelosi.
Me too. Anytime she talks like that, her and Brennan sound a lot alike lately. Just
where you mean I'm supposed to be here?
Hemming and hawing. The globalist fingerprints on Russiagate. The discussion after a Neil Bortz report to Fox News Update.
Time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.
Have you ever seen a video of a protester, a progressive, a liberal, just standing in front of somebody they disagree with and screaming at them? Not saying anything, but just screaming. That's where they are right now. They are being beat up so badly by Donald Trump that all they can do is just stand and scream. Sometimes they lay down on their back, kick their hands and legs and scream. That's more fun. Dan Gaynor is a freelance opinion writer for Fox News. I could do that, but I'm too lazy. This week he wrote an opinion piece comparing Trump to David and the liberal media to Goliath. And Donald Trump has crushed that Goliath. Here's a portion of what Dan Gaynor wrote. In recent weeks, Trump has defunded the leftist public media at NPR and PBS, and NPR's top editor has quit. CBS announced that the late-night host Stephen Colbert is being let go bye-bye and sent the left into F-bomb-laced meltdowns. Longtime Washington Post staffers are leaving that newspaper because now it is promising to use its opinion pages to support the scary combination of free markets and personal liberties. And major news outlets are settling Trump lawsuits and paying up millions of dollars. And do you remember Media Matters? The New York Times just reported that the progressive at Media Matters are considering shutting down as well. They're getting no funding from their followers or anywhere else. They can't write paychecks. Well, that might be because they spent $15 million in legal fees fighting legal actions brought by Elon Musk and others. What a shame. What a spectacle. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
Good morning, Mike. What you eating?
You gotta try this.
I can hear you crunching from the next cube over.
This is amazing. I just discovered it this weekend at Lidl. It's Greek Goddess Gourmet Granola. They were sampling it, so I tried it. Then I bought 6 bags.
Wow. Is it cereal?
Can be. Or an amazing trail mix. It's great for a meal or a snack.
What's in it?
Well, they have 2 flavors, maple oat and harvest nut, which is my favorite. It's made with whole grain oats, almonds, pecans, raisins, coconut, and the sweet taste of pure maple syrup. Maple oat is a simpler take on their delicious granola. It's got wholesome oats, plump raisins, coconut, and maple syrup.
That sounds healthy and delicious.
That's why I can't stop crunching, Susan.
Greek Goddess Gourmet Granola. It's a breakfast or on-the-go snack you can feel good about. It's dairy-free and gluten-free, and with only 2 grams of added sugar per serving, even your belly will love it. Pick some up at Lidl, Amazon, GreekGoddessGourmet.com, or at specialty stores near you.
WFOM and W292 EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 8 a.m. hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air.
They aren't in effect yet. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Tariffs that were going to start today have been pushed back to next Thursday on imports from dozens of countries.
Countries that were not making specific new deals for themselves with the U.S. were just told what their new rates are going to be. Mostly 15 to 20%, with some much higher. The highest in the world now, Syria, 41%, Laos and Burma, 40%, Switzerland, 39%, and Canada, our neighbors to the north, 35%.
That Canadian tariff actually goes into effect today, and up from 25 on goods not covered by a trade agreement, with President Trump accusing Canada of treating our farmers unfairly. And Fox's Peter Ducey at the White House also reads this reaction.
The Ontario Premier Doug Ford says it's actually time to fight, and Canada shouldn't settle for anything less than the right deal. Now is not the time to roll over. We need to stand our ground.
Former President Biden lashed out last night, warning that President Trump wants to dismantle the Constitution.
To erase history rather than make it. To erase fairness, equality, to erase justice itself.
And after the former president said that to the National Bar Association in Chicago, his ex-VP Kamala Harris, who replaced him in the 2024 election and lost, went on the CBS Late Show with Stephen Colbert. He asked Harris, who's leading the Democratic Party?
Who comes to mind? I think there are a lot of, I'm not going to go through names because then I'm going to leave somebody out and then I'm going to hear about it.
President Trump says that campaign he won was weird.
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't call her a skilled politician.
Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, who went to Israel for ceasefire talks in the war against Hamas, went to Gaza today to tour food distribution sites, along with U.S. Ambassador Mike Huckabee, who posted on X praise for GHF, the U.S. and Israeli-backed organization that he says has distributed 100 million meals in 2 months, but there's growing international concern about starving Palestinians and deadly attacks on crowds trying to get the food. America's listening to Fox.
Hey, it's Mike Rowe, and if you want to do business with a company that actually stands for something, switch to Pure Talk. I did. Sure, I appreciate being on America's most dependable 5G network with unlimited talk and text for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is Pure Talk's commitment to our military and to our skilled workforce. That matters to me. Save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term.
Does your friend listen to an old station whose news gives them the blues? Set your friend right. Tell him to download the Extra 106.3 app.
Tug and Los until 10 on Extra 106.3. FOL, Front Office Los, daughter's going back to school today. And interesting, he's got one going into middle and one going into high school. Dude, such an awesome time, a time of... probably a little bit of apprehension, a little bit of nervousness, but probably some big hopes and dreams too.
Yeah, they're concerned. First full day is Tuesday, but today is like the last kind of dress rehearsal where they show up. Now, we did have locker assignments earlier this week. This is supposed to be the general orientation, walk around.
That's today, right?
Get your schedule. Yeah, and unfortunately, my youngest Hers starts at 11. My oldest, hers starts at 10. So my wife and I are having to juggle them both. And so it's like she's going to drop her off at the high school. Then I'm going to run up to the high school right after the show to then, kind of jump in and do dad stuff there as my wife runs to the middle school. So it's a little bit of a crazy morning, but it's going to be fun for them.
Yeah, and
New schools.
I think there's so many parents, especially like Cherokee County's back in school today. I know some of the folks in Gwinnett, I believe it's Gwinnett. I heard Jeff Francoeur talking about it on the Braves broadcast last night, how his daughter goes back to school tomorrow, and they talked about just doing having one day.
For one day, it feels that is so strange to me.
Yeah, Marietta City Schools start back today, too.
There you go. Marietta City's along with that. I guess it's just let's just get the chaos out of the way, help everybody find their, the rooms they're supposed to go to. If there's issues and changing classes or changing times or whatever it is, let's get it out on Friday, and then maybe we hit the ground running on Monday. That's the only thing I can figure is the reason you do that.
I do remember in past years we've had we go back on Thursday, and so it's almost like the restaurant soft opening.
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday's like it's not really there yet. Then Monday, it's like boom, here we go. Now it's school.
That's exactly right, man. So
did y'all have any senior pranks when you were in high school? Did y'all partake in those?
A few things, but like I wrote my name in pesticide or not pesticide, weed killer. I wrote my name right in front of the principal's office like a dummy. And there was only 3 Jerrys in the whole school.
Wonder who did this?
Yeah. And guess who was the only one in the forestry class?
Oh, no.
Dude, I just never think things through. When I'm trying to be clever, when I'm trying to do something fun, that was my senior prank. And I remember getting called and they're like, Mr. Cowards. When you're in class earlier, this week, were you by any chance out in front of the principal's office, and did you by any chance take weed killer and write your name in the grass? Yes. Yes, I did do that. We're glad you're honest because we knew it was you. You're the only one in the class, and you're the only idiot that's a senior.
I asked because at Marietta High School, every year on the first day of school, seniors go and get that parking lot rolled. And sure enough, I saw the pictures this morning. And they do a good job over there. So they got the weekend to clean it up.
Los, anything for you when you do senior pranks or anything like that?
First off, I don't know how me and my friends survived like middle school into high school.
Yeah.
Because like every weekend was like prank weekend. Like what could we pull off?
Yeah.
I had my mom in town. Now we didn't do anything to the school. Like we were not, in any like fun or any sort of fun vandalism or anything else towards the school. We visited upon each other. And so to this day, when my mom was in town, she talked about how embarrassing it was when she heard that some of the boys in the neighborhood had stolen Christmas decorations and set them all up in one person's yard. And every parent was driving by to see that the Delaney's suddenly had like $2,000 worth of Christmas stuff all set up and plugged into their yard.
That's great.
Yeah. And so that's the sort of stuff we were doing on a regular basis. Or have you ever guys heard of throwing breakers?
No. Tell me more.
So one of the things we would do is, and this is when we first got licenses, if we were ever bored, 15, 16 years old, we would drive around to a number of the different establishments as far as fast food restaurants. And if their breaker was unsecured, we'd pull the breaker.
Oh, dude.
And so, like, there was a Wendy's that it was a buddy of mine, his brother worked at, and they would give us free food every single Friday or Saturday evening when, it's like, all right, we're like in football season, we're at the football games, in baseball, we're doing, but if we had that dead period, it's like, let's go get in trouble somewhere. And so we would go get free Wendy's, and then we would drive across the street to pull the breaker at Burger King, and you would hear an eruption of like, yeah, as soon as they would go dark.
Because they're like, free at last. This is great. I'm not having to work. It's so awesome. I love it.
So, yeah, we would do that sort of stuff on a regular, like, again, nothing to the school. We would never do any damage or anything. It was always like jokes like that to each other.
Have y'all ever heard of junior senior wars?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'd never heard of it until my son went through high school.
Yeah, that was a series of pranks. But again, we were already doing them.
Yeah. So I'd never heard of it. I'd never seen it, heard of it. And it happened, obviously when my son's a junior. And they would, man, I'm telling it got big. And at some point they were afraid kids are going to get hurt because it became bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
They would take airsoft guns and shoot each other. They would roll, whatever. It was pranks. There was all kinds of things involved. And I remember Jacob's junior year, they rolled the all of the trees, and our lot's mostly wooded there at Alpharetta. And my wife was furious. I mean, livid. She doesn't get mad about much. She was pissed. I guess in New York when she was growing up, like that was the ultimate sign of disrespect, was to roll. I didn't realize that. For me, it wasn't. I thought it was funny.
If you egged my house, that was disrespectful.
Right, exactly.
If you rolled it, no big deal.
No, exactly. So, dude, that triggered her, though. I mean, she was pissed. She picked up her phone, and I bet it was 10, 11.
Hello, principal?
No, to her son. Our son, and said, you better get your ass home and get this ass cleaned up right now. And dude, he was home. He could hear it in her voice. He was like Brennan talking to MSNBC. You could hear how nervous he was,
I wonder about what like Ring doorbell systems and camera systems, because like when I was growing up, if we knew that the girls that, like, I grew up with the same group of people from, like, first grade on, and I was with them all the way until junior year before I went to a different high school. So we all knew each other really well. When you knew one of the girls was having a sleepover, birthday party, anything else like that, you knew one of the boys' house was going to get rolled. And sometimes it was mine. Other times it was Dan or John. Like there was like 30 of us in the neighborhood. Somebody's house was going to get rolled. And so like now with these Ring doorbell systems, I just can't see how you could actually feel comfortable going over and rolling somebody's house. Like, go to school, go roll that, but don't go roll anybody's house. They'll know who you are.
They don't care that you know who they are. That's the whole point. They want you to know that they did it. That's the junior-senior war. Man, let me tell you, Jacob got home, though, after his mom. He got home. He was out till 2 in the morning on a ladder. I mean, I don't know how he got some of the toilet paper down from those trees, but let me tell you, there were only 1 or 2 little shreds of evidence the next morning. I've never seen a child work with such efficiency as my son did.
A child work with such a see, and here's what's different. Yeah, like, okay, if you live in Atlanta proper, then you might have like some big crazy trees in your yard, and like I get that. Or if you live in the burbs, there might be like 1 tree that they planted in your yard. In Texas, we have oak trees, and there might be like 7 or 8 of them in your yard, and they're not tall. They're probably at the most maybe 20 feet in the air. So they're perfect for rolling because you can get all over the top, and it's just brutal when you have to get that stuff out of there.
Goodness gracious, what a mess. I love it. Well, if you're getting the kids ready to go back to school this morning or in the next few mornings, we are with you. We've all either experienced it or going through it right now here on Extra 106.3 in the Morning Extra. Yesterday, we learned the contents of the annex. That was the 29 pages that were confidential from the Durham report. And we talked about this morning, John Brennan. He was on MSNBC, and his voice was quivering. He was clearing his throat. He knew things were not good. Things were going to be really, really bad, and are really bad. So, but there's so much that this now declassified, these 29 pages of declassified intel shows that there is someone else involved that maybe you didn't know of, but you'll surely recognize his name.
Durham obtained emails via Russian intelligence, and the emails were allegedly written by a man named Leonard with the Open Society Foundation. That's the foundation tied to George Soros. According to the annex, Leonard writes about a Clinton campaign advisor named Julianne. She's also referred to by Julie and Julia. One of the emails says, Julie says it will be a long-term affair to demonize Putin and Trump. Now it is good for a post-convention bounce. Later, the FBI will put more oil into the fire. In another email obtained by Durham, Leonard allegedly wrote, HRC, meaning Hillary Rodham Clinton, approved Julia's idea about Trump and Russian hackers hampering U.S. elections. That should distract people from her own missing email, especially if the affair goes to the Olympic level. Now, Mr. Durham interviewed Julie, who told told him that she didn't draft or recall receiving any of these Leonard emails. The annex goes on to explain that the FBI was fully alerted to the possibility that at least some of the information it received about the Trump campaign might have origins with the Clinton campaign or Russian disinformation, but the FBI apparently dismissed that information, quote, as not credible without any investigative steps actually having been taken to either corroborate or disprove the allegations. I want to be clear, we've reached out to those mentioned in this annex that I just brought up in this report, but we have yet to hear back.
Huge surprise that they didn't get reached back out to. Dude, there's some of the emails that are from Leo Leonard Bernardo, the name, and they go back to July 27th of 2016. And in the email from Leonard to Julia, who worked with Hillary's campaign, it says, "Hi, HRC, Hillary Rodham Clinton, approved Julia's idea about Trump and the Russian hackers hampering U.S. elections. This should distract people from her own missing email, as you heard in that report." Dude, this is as cut and dry as it can possibly be. And the fact that this didn't come out during the hearings about all of this tells you all you need to know. They were they meant to. It was intentional that they were misleading you. And the news media knew it. The Democrats knew it. Hell, even some of the Republicans knew it and did nothing, Los.
Tug, are you sitting down?
I am, yes, thank goodness.
Okay, I'm pulling out right now my Aunt Peg hat. It's a big old kind of goofy looking thing, and I'm putting it on my head.
I'm glad it's not the one that they normally wear.
It's not that one. It's not the reproductive hat. This is her Sunday hat when she watches the Sunday shows, and then she talks to you.
Got it.
All right, you ready for my response to this?
Yes.
You see, Tug, Leonard, that's Chinese disinformation.
Oh, yes, of course.
He wrote that to make sure that this would happen.
Got it. Oh, see, now well, then let's just put it all to rest. Let's just,
exactly.
Keep your Pulitzers. Everything's good.
And that's how it's going to be played. It'll turn into whoever the contact within Hillary Rodham Clinton's, inner circle of, well, Julia's doing this, and she was talking to Leonard about this. And Julia's like, I don't know who this person is. I don't recall this. And by the time they find this other dude, it'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about. And they'll be like, oh, you see, it was all just misinformation. Even though, as you pointed out, the intelligence officials are like, yeah, that's highly unlikely.
Yeah, it's the craziest thing.
Yeah, we see them writing back and forth pretty consistently. We know what's going on here.
Absolutely right. And everything, it's just falling together like dominoes falling down. The only thing I would change about the way you described Aunt Peg and her hat and getting ready for her explanation of Chinese disinformation or misinformation or malinformation, is that she's not going to hear about it because the media is just not going to cover it.
Exactly.
She's not going to know anything. She's going to be like, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about, Tug? I don't know anything about this.
No idea what you're talking about. They don't cover it on purpose.
What did Donald Trump do now?
Yeah, that's right. He's got somebody manufacturing this and putting it into burn bags so people can accidentally find it. This is all an elaborate scheme. Boy, you'd know about elaborate schemes, wouldn't you?
Oh, I can't wait to see what we get today. This has been the move by Tulsi Gabbard over the last several weeks. It's always been a Thursday and Friday drop. And so as much as I'm not anticipating, I've just been told, from reading into a little bit of this information and seeing what's been going on, that they do expect more of this stuff to come out and to implicate an even bigger circle. Because right now, Brennan's nervous. Obviously, Hillary's nervous. Comey is on that part. So is Clapper. Obama has to sit and hope that his immunity will stand up. But what happens when you start reeling in the Bidens? This has to go a lot bigger than just these handful of people, because these are the people that felt that in perpetuity they should be running the country.
Yeah, and was ready. And you discussed it last hour, how if it were to come up that Donald Trump was going to run for a third term, and we always say that just to get under their skin because we know it will trigger their TDS and they won't be able to function and they'll have a terrible weekend because they won't be able to get it off their mind.
Peg, did you hear Donald Trump is changing the Constitution on his own? He's going to run a third time.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. What do you think? No, but that was the whole point, is that they were going to run this, that Obama was going to run this from the basement. He knew exactly what was going to go down. He knew exactly what buttons to push. He colluded because the Russian collusion thing, right? That's the whole point and purpose, that Trump colluded with the Russians to win the election. It's amazing how they never bring that up anymore. That doesn't go. It's just information. It's just that the intel said, yep, Donald Trump was the beneficiary of Russian misinformation. And when you boil it down, Los, they bought $150,000 worth of internet ads on Facebook, and half of them were pro-Hillary, we're learning. That's the other thing, man. They can't, everything they say is a complete bold-faced lie.
All right, so for that portion of the audience, it's here now. That if you weren't here earlier, first off, what's wrong with you? I'm working on fanny packs. Pick up your listing, okay?
Yeah, come on.
Get at if you got doing the 8 o'clock, give me the 7 o'clock as well. But here was my point. You now have a situation where Barack Obama served his 2 terms and fully intended, based off of the information that the Russians and the Democrats had on Hillary Clinton, it was going to be Barack Obama's 3rd term. Then you actually saw Barack Obama's 3rd term when it was Joe Biden. And what did you think you were going to get if it was Kamala Harris? That would have been Barack Obama's 4th term. Okay? The only person that has ever upset the apple cart on the Democrat side is Bernie Sanders. It's the reason why they won't let him run and they keep taking this stuff away from him.
He wouldn't participate. He would not
participate in what this has been and what they intended to do. No kings. Barack Obama has been just exactly that within that party. This is what their intentions were. And the fact that Donald Trump won completely screwed all of it up. That's why they went so hard at him.
And the FBI, they knew every bit of this. The FBI knew it. The CIA knew it. Chuck Schumer, I believe he played the cut yesterday when he was talking about we've never seen corruption at this level for the benefit of one person or one party. He talked about the weaponization of the DOJ. He talked about enriching himself, referring to Donald Trump and his friends and family. And yet, that's exactly what was going on entirely. With the FBI knowing, Barack Obama knowing, them colluding together against Trump, and then later on down the road, you had Joe Biden enriching himself with his family. This is all laid out together, man. The tentacles of all of these things work together. Little did we know, but now it's becoming much more clear. It is unbelievable to see the way that this is working out. Everybody knew. And there was a handful of people that were brave enough, and there was a whistleblower that came forward yesterday to speak with Tulsi Gabbard, director ODNI, and said they threatened me with my promotion if I didn't go along, and this person didn't go along. They were one of the very few that said, nope, this is wrong, and you know it's wrong. That's why there was only 5 people selected to work on the intelligence community assessment, because they can control it. They keep their thumb on it. Brennan knew about it. I mean, all of it is a big spider web of lies. And the biggest scandal in American history, hands down, there's not even one that's close. When we come back, the mainstream media has perfectly highlighted, with the numbers on illegal immigration, they've highlighted the numbers on illegal immigration not budging, not moving, even with all the anti-Trump, anti-ICE bias that you hear and see on television. Next on Extra.
The Morning Extra from 6 to 10. Glenn Beck until noon. Clay and Buck from noon to 3. And The Kimmer Show on your ride home from 3 to 6. Plus Jesse Kelly from 6 to 9. And Jimmy Vela from 9 to midnight. The voices you need all day with the conservative voice of Atlanta. Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
Good morning, it's Los. Let's talk about the good people in the good store over at True Prep. First off, 1000 Cobb Parkway in Marietta, open 7 days a week. You know why? Because emergency situations don't go away either, everybody. You never know when something's going to happen, and you need to be prepared. Preparation is key when crazy stuff happens. Listen, I'm big into food storage. I'm actually down in the basement right now. I'm having to broadcast from the home studio. I know exactly where the freeze-dried food is. It's right around the corner to my right, and there's months of it because you just never know. Same sort of concept when it comes to being in the outdoors. They have all the equipment to make sure that you're able to enjoy the outdoors safely, but also ammo. When it comes to protecting you and yours, they have the equipment for that. Whether it's the best prices that you're going to find on guns and ammo, they have that as well. But also, True Prep goes an extra step. They also make it a point to offer workshops at their store. If you want to learn about initial prepping, they can do that. Also, when it comes to gun safety, they have a couple classes coming up. Actually, one coming up on Sunday. It's coming up on the 3rd, and then another one on the 24th. Now, this is for first-time gun buyers. What it allows you to do, give this to a friend, give this to a relative, or do this for yourself. They will take you through the process, what gun is right for you, depending on how you're looking to keep your protection, whether it's at home or when you're out and about. And at that point, they also show you how to properly maintain that weapon and to go through the entire legal process and then also store it safely as well. That's what True Prep offers you on a regular basis. Go to truprep.com. That's truprep.com. Prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow with True Prep.
The private sector pension is pretty much gone now, but at Chandler Wealth Management, Craig Chandler has strategies to build in a personal pension. With more, here's Coach Pete.
We call it a financial fill-up strategy. And so if you'd like your own financial fill-up strategy, you get a share in the gains of the market of some of these devices here, but you never have a share in the loss. So your worst return is a zero. If the market's going down, you're not going to lose money, but you're not going to gain money. And then when you choose, you can get a lifetime income from this account that you can never outlive, both for you and your spouse. That's the magic right there. So most people's pension accounts is for one or the other, or you have to take a lot less and the spouse gets it. But again, most pensions I see are IRAs, individual retirement account. You can turn an individual retirement account into a joint income account if you do the strategies we educate you on when you come in.
Learn about it when you meet at no cost, no obligation with Coach Pete's local trusted advisor, Craig Chandler, Chandler Wealth Management, 800-419-6164, 800-419-6164, 800-419-6164.
I'm Gianna Gelosi with your Fox True Crime Minute. A man has been arrested in connection to the deaths of a married couple attacked and killed while hiking with their 2 young daughters in northwest Arkansas. It ends a frantic 5-day manhunt. 28-year-old James Andrew McGann was arrested at a barbershop in Springdale, Arkansas, now facing 2 counts of murder. He's accused of attacking 43-year-old Clinton Brink and his 41-year-old wife, Kristen, as they hiked with their daughters in Devil's Den State Park Saturday. The girls, 7 and 9 years old, were able to escape and told the visitor center their parents were stabbed. Hours later, their bodies were found. But police have not said how the couple was killed or why they were killed.
We're not going to talk about his motive right now. We're still exploring and determining exactly what that motive was.
That's Arkansas State Police Major Stacey Rhodes. McGann recently moved to Arkansas from Oklahoma and secured a job at a local school. The Brinks had recently moved to Arkansas from South Dakota. There's more on this story at foxnews.com or subscribe to the Fox True Crime Podcast. I'm Gianna Gelosi with your Fox True Crime Minute.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your Georgia headlines for Friday, August 1st. Marietta City School students head back to class today. AAA is urging drivers to practice safe driving. The recent survey reveals that 70% of Georgia drivers pass through a school zone every day, and 40% of those drivers admit to speeding through those school zones. 28% admit using cell phones in a school zone while driving. Speed cameras in school zones have been reactivated. Cobb County students go back to class on Monday. A grand jury indicted Cobb County Superior Court Clerk Connie Taylor. She's facing charges of destroying public records in violation of oath of office. Taylor allegedly pocketed thousands of dollars in passport fees and later directed an employee to delete emails related to passport revenue. She's paid the county back over $80,000 and served as court clerk in Cobb County since 2020. Today's weather cloudy with temperatures in the low 90s. We've got scattered storms again today, and those storms will be with us through the weekend. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
8 o'clock hour brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier expert, 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. Tug and Los until 10. We showed you the polling numbers, I think it was maybe Tuesday, where it was in January, 59% of people said anybody that is a criminal, illegal alien in America needs to be deported. Now, fast forward, since January, as we are here on August 1st. The number has not changed. It's not budged. Why? Because people believe that criminal, illegal aliens should not be in the United States of America, and the crime stats that back that up, whether it's Laken Riley or whomever else, the crime stats just jump off the page at you, Los.
Yeah, and the stories, for every time we get the the woman who's been abducted in the Jack in the Box parking lot. Then ICE comes forward and says, "Yeah, we don't have her." And then it turns out federal authorities go, "Oh yeah, she staged it all. We actually found her at the mall, but now she's going to face prosecution." Okay, like that's typical of what's been going on. But I want to play you this. This is from about 4 days ago from NBC. This is an NBC affiliate. Now, this runs about 2 minutes, okay? But it's a story, all right? This is like a miniature story time here. What you're going to hear is a story in basically 3 parts. You're going to hear from a man who he's basically trying to make it a point. Yeah, I'm here illegally, but I should be here. And then you're going to hear the story of what occurs from there. Have a listen.
2 weeks ago, Guillermo Reyes was at a rally outside federal immigration court in San Francisco, where his attorneys argued the tattoo artist should remain out of ICE custody because he's lived in the U.S. since he was 6 years old. They contend Reyes is being unfairly targeted for deportation because of his activism, but he also has a criminal history, including a conviction for stabbing a rival gang member in 2013.
To be honest, according to the conversations that I've had with immigration officers, we're all criminals to them just because we weren't born here.
But you do have a record.
Yeah, but just like I do have a record as a juvenile.
The judge granted Reyes a temporary reprieve, but this past Sunday, he was back in custody, accused of several new crimes. Berkeley police say the bizarre string of incidents started here, when Guillermo Reyes called 911 to report a possible break-in. Officers arrived to find a broken window and found Reyes with a bloody hand. They took some information and left. 4 hours later, someone at this cafe called 911 for medical help.
Initially, I called in as a medical for a male breathing heavily, but now possibly a fentanyl overdose. Braids, no shirt, tattooed.
Police soon learned about a string of carjacking incidents. One happened here at this bakery, where the 3-year-old was in the backseat of a car, but Reyes was unable to get away because he didn't have the keys. And here at this gas station, where the 70-year-old victim was able to douse Reyes with gasoline before she was knocked down. And then down the block, where a big rig Reyes was driving stalled before he could get away.
Well, we got one detained here, and narcotics deployed.
In the end, Reyes was taken into custody.
Unbelievable, Los.
Isn't that wild that in 3 parts it shows you here is this guy who's been in the country since he was 6 years old, and here's the job he works in society, and yes, he has a criminal record, but as he points out, well, that was as a minor. You know, I'm a model citizen now. Right. Here's what I do. And then you hear the story about some sort of wild-ass drug overdose, and now he's terrorizing the community for an entire day. And you wonder why those stories, you have to find them on X, because they do not filter around the rest of the country, where he tries to carjack a car with a 3-year-old in it. He tries to take a car off another 70-year-old woman. She has to douse him in gasoline. He breaks into a house by punching through a window. It's like, dude, you got to go.
Yeah.
I know you've been here since you're 6 years old, but you got a criminal record and you're adding to it. You got to go.
It reminds me of Chappelle's show, that skit. Is stabbing bad? You remember? I think we were talking about crack. It was like, is crack bad?
I think about what is it? It's Tyrone Biggins, the crackhead, and how he does the Red Balls, and it's the Red Bull and cocaine and something. He's throwing cars around and running around like a crazy person. Right. That is this guy Reyes. Like, apparently he got into some stuff and it just went wild.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like his behavior, like he said, is improved since the stabbing. Things have gotten so much better.
It's like, no, I haven't done anything since this amount of time, dude. I feel for the people that show up here and they've lived most of their lives here, and they just figure like, well, here's what. But you are here illegally, and yeah, I'm not about amnesty. At the same time, if you commit crime while you're here,
gone.
You're gone. It's really simple. If you happen to not commit crime, you're still going to be gone. It's just going to take a while. And some of the numbers, and I think this is important as well, the amount of people and this was some of the numbers that have been thrown around from DHS. It looks like we're starting to get to a point where we might be in the neighborhood of 10 or 12 to 1 as far as self-deporters versus those we are deporting.
Wow. That's big time.
And that's big because they want to come back.
Yeah, right.
They want to apply to come back.
And if they're not doing anything wrong, they will probably be allowed to on some kind of program. I mean, Trump just announced yesterday a program for Argentina that there's going to be a agreement between the two countries, so Argentinians would be able to travel to the United States without a visa. I mean, there's all kinds of programs that are being worked on now to give people the opportunity to do it legally, and I can't imagine why people wouldn't take the chance to do that, because if you are nabbed, if they make you leave or they deport you, dude, there's no coming back at all. It's done deal, over.
And I think a lot of this is about leveling the field. And what do I mean by that? What I mean is that right now we have a housing crisis. We have a situation where rent is nutty. And I think a lot of it can be attributed to we probably have about 20 million people that are not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Okay? Like that's the factor is there. When people are like, why don't we have enough homes? It's like because you got more. And all the government is looking into is self-deport. And as we start to get this back under control, in balance, where things have now leveled out, the playing field is now level once again, prices drop back according to the amount of people that are here and the amount of demand. And then at that point, all right, maybe we look to have some people start coming in here. Maybe we look to start bringing people back. Maybe we start listening to industries as much as they're going to pander and do what they do when they lobby in D.C. Hey, we need more workers in this industry. Maybe at that point we start looking into that. But flooding the zone with 20 million people and just expecting America to just not have a reaction to it is not realistic, but it's a communist dream. That's what they did.
Dude, this time last year, 82,000 people were traveling through the Darien Gap. And I'm reading this from Axios, which is not a conservative outlet. It's owned by the AJC and is just as left as they are. 82,000 people through the Darien Gap. And you know how many people came through the last month?
What, 3?
8.
8.
Yeah, this is nuts. It's absolutely nuts.
82,000 versus 8. And you wonder, man, why does my apartment cost so much?
Yeah.
Well, because there's this many more people that are not supposed to be here. The estimate has always been, when it came to Los Angeles, that 1 in 10 were illegal. Now Los Angeles, because of the lack of people on the streets, the traffic that has suddenly lightened up, they're like, it might be 1 in 3.
Yeah, it's unreal, these numbers. It really is, and that's why. And this story really reminded me of you when I read it, because you're from Texas and you've dealt with this. You've seen this up close for a lot of your life. You know, they told you that ICE was going to that was going to be a problem for Latino, Hispanic voters, and it's just not.
No, it's
not been a big deal at all. And if you look in Star, Texas, and I'm sure you're probably familiar with Star. I wasn't.
I can find it in a moment. Let me take a look.
Right, there you go. Star County. It's 97% Hispanic, and they voted Republican for the first time since 1892.
Oh, and you're in Rio Grande Valley at this point.
Right there, close to the border. And those folks say when asked, this is a Daily Caller article, when asked, they asked who they were voted for. They said Trump, and they asked, do you want to continue? Yes. We want him to continue with the block on illegal immigration and the deportations, completely upending what the Democrats and the mainstream media would have you believe about what's going on right now in America. Those people, the people that have voted for Trump for the first time, are still squarely behind him, and the polling shows it.
I have said this for years. I have told you about my experience. Hopefully the polling is now reassuring you with all of this. The people that have the biggest problem with illegal immigration are the Hispanics that are here legally. Those are the people that cannot stand it. And especially when you grow up with it in South Texas, you see how it influences your schools. You see how it influences your hospitals. And the wild part is that because of throwing the border open in the way that the Biden administration did, New York had never dealt with this craziness. You know, Minnesota had never dealt with it. Yeah, this was a Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California problem. And now it's a problem around the country where what is going on with my hospital system? Why are illegals showing up here for dental work? It's why did Grandpa just have a heart attack and we're trying to find him a room, but so-and-so is having his eyes checked and he just got here from Guatemala 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like that is what is going on. That's why those numbers haven't changed and why Hispanics, especially near the Texas border, are like all about Trump and making sure to keep that border tight.
They're asking people what the differences was and have been since Trump has been in office since January. And she said, we used to hear gunshots daily throughout the day. And it was a signal to let people know that they could cross into the USA later that night. And these people down there, they obviously were catching on to what was going on. She said those have been silenced since Donald Trump has been in office. And her kids, can you imagine explaining to your kids why they're hearing gunshots all the time? Especially when there's crime and they're probably a little on edge. You're probably a little on edge. Look, I grew up in Northwest Georgia. We would hear gunshots with regularity. It was usually somebody shooting in their backyard because their backyard lined up to 100 miles of woods.
There was a deer feeder out there somewhere.
Exactly. So I'm not saying there's never an instance where kids wouldn't hear gunshots, but when it's going the way it was in Starr County in deep Texas, those people were so nervous because they knew what those gunshots mean and they knew what they meant. And now that they're gone, they're like, thank you, Donald Trump. Yes, please keep this up. This is what we voted for. The first time, man, that number was unbelievable that year, 1892. First time they'd voted Republican since 1892. That's the difference in kicking the door open, knowing exactly what you're doing it with an intention, and Donald Trump closing the door and actually having law and order down there. And those people are appreciative, and I admire it. I think it's great.
Along with Donald Trump, I will point out that a lot of this is cartel activity.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And that's why they're probably so nervous about it.
And because, when I was growing up, you still had basically the Colombians ran everything when it came to the drug cartels. And you did have a Mexican mafia, but you did not have this massive cartel network that now exists in Mexico. That really grew once the Colombians fell apart. Once we were part of it. The international community, the Colombian government were all about as far as smashing their cartels apart. Well, part of the thing is the power shifted to Mexico, and so. When I was younger, it was no big deal to be on the border and go to Matamoros, Mexico, and eat some Mexican food and go chill at a cantina. That's part of what you did when you were that age, high school, college. You crossed the border, you'd go hang out in Mexico for the day, then you'd come back across the border. Now, you can't do it because you're a target for kidnapping. Or the violence is so strong. It's that's what's changed there in 20 years. And that's why that part of that world, when it comes to Texans who are of Hispanic origin, they're pointing over there and saying, keep it over there. We don't want that in our neighborhoods.
Absolutely, and I understand why. Dude, I get it. There's a reason I live in Alpharetta. There's a reason people live where they live. They want to feel safe in their homes. And who can blame them? I mean, who doesn't want that feeling? So when they get it, why would you want to turn it loose?
One of the biggest party places in the entirety of the country, and many people have heard about it, South Padre Island.
Yeah, boy, I've heard fun stories about that place.
South Padre Island is so close to the border that even South Padre Island, everyone there, it's we got to keep this stuff out because we don't want to hurt tourism to the best beach, best place in Texas.
Absolutely, man. We got to protect ourselves. We got to protect our communities, our economy, our livelihood. Look at how many things hinge on that very thing. Safety. It all hinges on safety. When we continue, the deep state got so sloppy because they never thought they'd be held accountable when it came to Russiagate. Next on Extra.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan and driven to Extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Friday, August 1st. The Atlanta Braves played a wild one last night, scoring 8 runs in the 8th inning and then giving up 8 runs in the bottom of the inning to the Cincinnati Reds. 11-11 was the score to the game before the Braves were able to win it in 10 innings. 12-11, the final. Game 2 of the series goes down this afternoon. It'll be Bryce Elder and Brady Singer on the mound as your pitching starters. First pitch is set for 12:40 this afternoon. You can hear that game live on our sister station's brand new app, 680 The Fan. And the MLB trade deadline came and went. The Braves did not move any of their veterans on expiring contracts. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
There's a new vibe in Tucker, and it's teeing off at Heritage Golf Links. After a multi-million-dollar renovation, the course has never looked better. From pristine new greens and bunkers to the stunning 11,000-square-foot putting green, Heritage Golf Links is ready to impress, challenge, and deliver an unforgettable round you'll come back for again and again. And when the sun goes down, the game keeps going. Our one-of-a-kind night range is lit up and open Friday and Saturday nights until 10 p.m., so your swing can shine under the lights. So, whether you're practicing, playing, or just enjoying the full-service bar and grill, Heritage Golf Links is the perfect place for golfers who want more than just a round. Heritage is a destination and a better golf experience. Reserve your tee time at heritagegolflinks.com. That's heritagegolflinks.com.
Located just minutes from downtown Atlanta, Heritage Golf Links is easily accessible from I-285 and I-85.
Hey, it's Front Office Lowe's here to tell you about a new company that is changing the way people buy their next pre-owned car or truck. At The Honest Car Guy, they offer a completely transparent way to purchase a vehicle. You pay what he pays, plus a small honest fee. You can choose any make or model. He will search the country for the best deal out there. He'll handle the paperwork, your trade-in, shipping, and even give you the bill of sale. Friends, I've done the research, and this is a buying process that you can trust. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1 or visit online at honestcarguy.com.
I'm Chad Pergram with the Speaker's Lobby. Republicans recently approved a bill to slash $9 billion in foreign aid. It's likely the first of several bills where Republicans try to claw back money which Congress already appropriated. GOP Maine Senator Susan Collins chairs the Senate Appropriations Committee. In a statement, Collins blasted the Trump administration for a lack of specificity about the precision of the request to rescind money. Collins also criticized the administration a few months ago for a paucity of detail in the president's budget. Quote, "The rescissions package has a big problem. Nobody really knows what program reductions are in it," said Collins. "That isn't because we haven't had time to review the bill." Collins wasn't the only Republican senator who worried about how the administration presented the spending cut package to Congress. Senate Armed Services Committee Chairman Roger Wicker of Mississippi fretted about Congress ceding the power of the purse to the administration. But unlike Collins, Wicker supported the bill. Quote, "If we do this again, please give us specific information about where the cuts will come. Let's not make a habit of this," said Wicker. With the Speaker's Lobby, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
Bullet points.
I'm Eben Brown. It could soon be illegal to buy a Glock in California if lawmakers get their way. The California State Senate could be just some weeks away from passing a bill aimed at outlawing Glock brand handguns in the state. The bill, originating in the California Assembly, is targeting Glock-made semi-automatic handguns or any firearm built using similar mechanisms that would be convertible into automatic-style firing by a device commonly referred to as a Glock switch, which can be manufactured using a 3D printer. The bill's authors argue Glocks are responsible for many gun crimes. However, Glock remains one of the country's and California's most popular brand of handgun. The bill wouldn't criminalize Glocks already legally purchased by Californians, nor would it apply to law enforcement who more often than not carry Glock brand service firearms. And those are your bullet points. I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
Attention Warriors, are you a veteran ready to navigate to success after service? Tune in to the Warrior Alliance Network. Join us as we spotlight inspiring stories, provide essential resources, and connect you with a community dedicated to empowering veterans. From career advice to health and wellness tips, the Warrior Alliance Network is your go-to hub for post-service success. Tune in Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. on Extra 106.3. Join us on the mission, the Warrior Alliance Network, where warriors thrive together. Visit us at thewarrioralliance.org for more information.
As a veteran, when I hear the word burn bag, I immediately know what it looks like. In the Navy, and I think probably across the DoD, the ones that I used were like these, think of a bag at the grocery store, the paper bags, but really tall. And it had diagonal colored stripes. So it would be white stripes, 3 white stripes, and then 3 red stripes. And they were spaced, a couple inches apart. So they're very distinctive when you looked at them. And you knew what they were for. You put sensitive information in there so they could be incinerated, so they could be destroyed. It was an act very common. But when you get super sloppy with what you put in the burn bag, or you don't burn it, there's probably a reason behind that. Sloppiness is not something that's usually tolerated in the Department of Defense, but in the intel community, Los, it sure feels like they got real sloppy because they never thought anybody would hold them to account.
So I'm glad you described what it's like on a naval ship, what it's like when you have sensitive material, and how it's routine for you to go, well, that's going in the incinerator, and it needs to.
Yep.
One of the things that I was listening to Clay and Buck about, and Buck Sexton, he started joking around as a guy who worked in the CIA for a number of years. He said sometimes it got so redundant, so regular, that people would put food menus in the burn bags.
Aww.
He's like, you just ordered it, and you were so used to stuff, you just put it in, or it's like, hey, what I wrote down for lunch, you just put it in the burn bag. He's like, that's just kind of what would go on. And so that's the only thing that starts to explain this for me, because I think there's a portion of me that wants to believe and does believe that the plan was whatever happened from D.C. to Mar-a-Lago, the previous administrations have to get rid of all of it. Like, we got to raid Trump's house. We got to get this stuff back, right?
That's right. And then burn it.
And then burn it. And then eventually burn it so you can't find out any of this stuff. Because if you just reminding you, from 2 days ago, it was Director Kash Patel found thousands of sensitive documents related to the origins of the Trump-Russian probe buried in multiple burn bags in a secret room inside the Bureau. So that was what the initial story was as of 2 days ago. What it does point to is that these people got so sloppy and got so regular at doing this that something that would probably never happen on a naval ship, where it's, hey, do you know where this went? No. Like, as you said, chain of custody is everything. You want to get in trouble?
Yeah.
Lose a document.
Break that.
Right. Whereas these people who are career, they're career members there. They sit in an office. They feel like they run the country. They got sloppy, is what I believe fully happened. And so, yes, I do believe that, so much of this was a conspiracy to get after Donald Trump and to try and cause as much problem related to Russia. But at the same time, this was not propagated by all the sharpest people in the room. Were there smart people? Absolutely. But when you started to widen this thing out and you need to depend on other people to start getting rid of evidence, this is what happens with government. This is what they show you what they're about.
What also happens, Los, when you get comfortable? You get sloppy.
Yeah.
Because
You get sloppy.
Because you're so comfortable with it.
Buck Sexton told us that they would burn menus from restaurants.
Exactly. Just toss it in there. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
And you know what? It isn't a big deal that a menu ended up in there, because it was going to be burned. And you are used to sticking everything in there because that's what we did. And this was well before, man. When I was in the Navy, it was before computers were. I mean, we used them, plenty of them, but we printed so much. These were in every space you went into on a Navy ship. There were anything that had had the ability to have sensitive information always had burn bags. It was just so comfort. But that's what leads me to the comfortable nature of what they did, because they never expected in a million years that Donald Trump would ever return to office. How could he? We've already anchored him with Russian collusion. Who's gonna buy a traitor? Who's gonna reelect a traitor and then throw in 34 felonies on top of it? In every municipality on the East Coast, man, Florida, New York, Georgia, they had him. There was no returning for what they had Donald Trump. So they felt comfortable. They felt like it was fine to be sloppy.
All right, can we go down conspiracy theory road where this starts to become really fun?
Okay, yes, I mean, sure.
All right, hold on. Let me get out my tinfoil hat. Do you have anything tinfoil you can put on? Maybe bite down. Oh, okay, there we go. Put that can on your head. What if the idea was that Donald Trump did have this information for Crossfire Hurricane? Because that was always the theory, that's what he had at Mar-a-Lago.
Sure.
That's what the FBI was after. Here's the documents that burns the entirety of the new and the previous administrations. That's what he had at Mar-a-Lago. That's what was raided. What if this was all hidden by his previous administration here?
Hold up. Say it again. I missed something. Say it again.
what if all of this information was hidden previously by his administration before leaving?
So it was in the skiff. It was in the burn bag, and Donald Trump didn't have it at all? Is that what you're suggesting?
Think about the idea of, I can't do anything about this right now, but I can't take it home.
Yeah.
We got to hide this stuff.
Yeah, we got to make sure it's not found. Yeah.
Dude. I mean, because right now, under this whole theory, it's, wow, the Democrats and Comey, look what they did. And they tried to hide this information over. What if we had already hit it?
Yeah, no kidding.
It's almost like the pirate that has buried treasure, and he has the map with the X.
Yep.
You know, you keep raiding his ship, you don't find the treasure, but he knows where it is.
Yeah, he knows. He's got that thing rolled up in his back pocket.
How fun would that be, though, right?
It'd be so awesome. It'd be so good.
It's like you raided my house, you came looking for this stuff, you found a bunch of, like, cookbook recipes, and when you left looking for Crossfire hurricane values, you got nothing.
Yeah, you left with menus that somebody thought we were throwing into a burn or were throwing into the burn. But yeah, at the end, I think Donald Trump is going to be able to really make a lot of people, even if he doesn't get Obama, which I don't expect that he will. Do I think Obama's probably feeling a little bit of heat, a little bit of pressure, a little bit of nerve because he knows what he did? And that's the worst sometimes. It's like when you're in trouble and your mama says, wait till daddy gets home. And you're waiting. It's that apprehension. It's that wait.
So long.
Waiting is the hardest part, right? Tom Petty's got a song about that. But that's the thing. They've been waiting, so they're all just sitting on their nerves because they're like, oh, God, what if he has enough to get me? What if he has enough to get us all? That's the thing that I think that they're all... And when you hear Brennan speak on MSNBC and you hear the quiver in his throat and you hear him clearing his throat and him saying, well, the professionals at the DOJ, they'll see through this. Yeah, because I didn't do anything.
Well, apparently the professionals within the CIA, they did as well, and none of them spoke up to whistleblow.
That's exactly right, man.
All right, that's the operation you were running, and yet no one saw through it.
Yeah,
they did. They just didn't say anything.
That's right, because you threatened to punish them. That's what we learned from the whistleblower yesterday. And then you hand-selected the people that you knew would give you the predetermined outcome, and you took ownership. Freaking John Brennan took ownership of the ICA that set all this in motion. So he had his thumb on the scale the entire time, and now he has to sit back and wait. Oh, my God, what did they find in that skiff? What did they find in that burn bag? What have they found in the Durham Report Annex? And how long do I have as a free man?
Before this comes back and falls on my head.
Can you imagine just sitting back wondering about that?
And I guess here's the other part, too, Tug. If it was you, me, and Jerry, and we all knew each other did something wrong, we're all going to be looking at each other going, are you going to say anything?
Mm-mm.
And then you go home and you're like, I wonder if he's talking.
That's exactly, dude. That's the way. But isn't that the cat and mouse game that police officers play when they're interrogating?
Which one of y'all is going to break?
That's right. And
which one of y'all wants to come off and get a deal here and tell everybody about it?
And when they're questioning you in the interrogation room, they tell you that the other person is getting ready to roll over, or they've picked up a little piece of information that would make you think that they've rolled over, so you'll start spilling your guts.
Yep, and that's the game. I saw the note on X last night. There are a lot of people that are very nervous in that town as of now.
I would imagine so.
Love it.
Yeah, me too. This part's fun, man.
Yeah.
This part is actually entertaining to watch because all the traitors to our country doing exactly what they always do. And speaking of Hillary Clinton, I want you to hear her in the moment in 2016 talking about all this and refresh your memory about why this is so important to get right for Donald Trump and the DOJ. Next on Xtra 106.3.
Time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.
Have you ever seen a video of a protester, a progressive, a liberal, just standing in front of somebody they disagree with and screaming at them, not saying anything, but just screaming. That's where they are right now. They are being beat up so badly by Donald Trump that all they can do is just stand and scream. Sometimes they lay down on their back, kick their hands and legs and scream. That's more fun. Dan Gaynor is a freelance opinion writer for Fox News. I could do that, but I'm too lazy. This week he wrote an opinion piece comparing Trump to David and the liberal media to Goliath. And Donald Trump has crushed that Goliath. Here's a portion of what Dan Gaynor wrote. In recent weeks, Trump has defunded the leftist public media at NPR and PBS, and NPR's top editor has quit. CBS announced that the late-night host Stephen Colbert is being let go bye-bye and sent the left into F-bomb-laced meltdowns. Longtime Washington Post staffers are leaving that newspaper because now it is promising to use its opinion pages to support the scary combination of free markets and personal liberties. And major news outlets are settling Trump lawsuits and paying up millions of dollars. And do you remember Media Matters? The New York Times just reported that the progressive at Media Matters are considering shutting down as well. They're getting no funding from their followers or anywhere else. They can't write paychecks. Well, that might be because they spent $15 million in legal fees fighting legal actions brought by Elon Musk and others. What a shame. What a spectacle. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
Hey, it's Flounder, and The Kimmer Show is live every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m.
More's coming out on Clinton, Hillary, Rodham, P. Stinky, Fart, Cabbage Gate, and the CIA Director John Radcliffe is now teasing the plans to release more information, more files, linking Hillary to the Russian interference and the coup against Donald Trump and the coup against their own party.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app. This is Atlanta's new home for Fox News, Extra 106.3 FM, WFOM and W292 EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 9 a.m. hour is presented by Southern Exteriors, quality and precision you can rely on.
Slowdown. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
For the month of July, jobs came in at 73,000. That was lower than the expectation, which called for 110,000 jobs.
Fox Business Network's Maria Bartiromo on the Just Out report that also shows a big revision down in the June hiring. Instead of 147,000 jobs created like first reported, it was actually only 14,000.
The unemployment rate right in step with expectations at 4.2%.
That is a 10th higher than the June unemployment rate. President Trump again posted this morning a call for the Federal Reserve to substantially lower interest rates, again insulting Fed Chair Jerome Powell in Truth Social posts as a stubborn moron and a disaster after the Fed did not cut rates in its meeting on Wednesday. The president's delayed tariffs on a lot of imports. Instead of today, they'll be imposed next Thursday on dozens of countries.
The tariff rates range from 15 to more than 40%. The White House maintains the tariffs will reverse trade deficits with U.S. trading partners, even as economists continue to warn about inflation. A senior administration official says the higher the deficit is with a country, the higher their rate is.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. Now, the president has increased the tariff on Canadian goods not covered by a trade agreement to 35%. That's up from 25%. And that's in effect starting today. Ontario's premier says Canada must fight back. They're in mourning in Ukraine after another Russian missile and drone barrage killed at least 31 people. President Trump has given Russia until next Friday to stop that war or face new economic sanctions. Andrew McGahn due in court this hour in Arkansas, making his first appearance since he was arrested Wednesday, charged with double murder. Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders just told Fox.
This individual has been caught and will not see the light of day for a long time.
Lisa McGann has confessed to killing Clinton and Kristen Brink, a married couple, on a hiking trail at a state park Saturday in front of their young daughters who were not physically hurt. America's listening to Fox.
Hey, it's Mike Rowe, and if you want to do business with a company that actually stands for something, switch to Pure Talk. I did. Sure, I appreciate being on America's most dependable 5G network with unlimited talk and text for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is Pure Talk's commitment to our military and to our skilled workforce. That matters to me. Save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
If something happens to you, what happens to your family? Will they struggle financially? Will they be able to afford the home you built together? With Ethos, you can get life insurance coverage in minutes. Get up to $2 million in coverage for as little as $2 a day. All online with no medical exam. Just answer a few health questions. Get your free quote at ethos.com/policy. That's ethos.com/policy. Rates may vary. Billed monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
Hey, it's your old pal Neil Bortz. I'm back on Atlanta's only conservative news talk station, Extra 106.3. Okay, here's more of the Morning Extra.
Lord, you know it's a Friday at 9 when you hear Unskinny Bob on Extra 106.3. Tug and Los. Yeah, needed. That's right. Absolutely. So good. It's interesting, too. I was reading, and you'll hear it later with Kimmer, I'm sure. Today was the day that Led Zeppelin formed, way back when. Today was also Jerry Garcia's birthday from the Grateful Dead. And then Morgan Wallen keeps popping up. It's kind of a theme of music keep popping up today. I was talking to Jeray about Morgan Wallen, telling me how good the new record is and the maturation process as him as an artist, and then just him as a person. You can hear it in the lyrics. And then I walked by Andy, our director of programming for Dickey Broadcasting. I walked by his office and he was like, "Do you know this song, 98 Braves?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I know it well."
You've only been talking about it for years.
Yeah, exactly. He was like, "I never heard it before." And somebody, I guess, had sent it to him this morning. And I was like, "Dude, I lived that song." I remember sitting on that couch. I was in Norfolk, Virginia. I'd met my then, I had just met my wife, who's now my wife. We had just met 2 weeks prior to that. I remember sitting on the couch watching the Braves melt down, and I could not believe what I was seeing. So if you've never heard the song 98 Braves by Morgan Wallen, go check it out.
Have you heard of this James Cameron?
James Cameron,
Have you ever? I just found this new band called Weezer.
Oh, gotcha. I was like, wait a minute, what? Yeah.
By the way, because I got to give the credit here. I think the best promo currently running on the station is the one where Kimmer and the boys, and it takes Flounder to straighten it all out. The mixing up of Ice-T, Ice Cube, and LL Cool J.
Right.
It is so funny.
It's like the blind leading the blind.
It's like at a certain point, you just hear Flounder go, "Do you mean LL Cool J?"
That's so good. Dude, Flounder's a home run hitter for sure.
It was so funny. It's such a funny promo. So if you get a chance to hear it and you start hearing them talk about getting into Ice-T, Ice Cube, LL Cool J as the punchline, it's a great promo.
And the crazy thing is, and I think it was before, pretty positive it was before Kimmer came on board. Freaking Ice Cube came here. He's promoting the Big Three. We've got him to sign the autograph wall that we have here at Dickey Broadcasting Company. So many stars and movie stars and ball players and race car drivers and politicians. Everybody has signed that wall, Ice Cube being one of them. But I think it was before Kimmer got here. So maybe we'll give him a pass. Maybe.
Yeah, I think it was just before.
Yeah.
But that's still hilarious.
Yeah, it's so funny.
It's so funny. And then he got eaten in, what's that shark movie, Deep Blue Sea?
That's right. And, dude, speaking of Ice-T, this is either they're paying him an arm and a leg, a grip of money, or he's falling on hard times, and I don't know which one it is. But he's doing an ad for, insurance for your car.
He is.
Not through an insurance company, but it's it's like
it's like the general of insurance,
whatever it is, and he's like, you need if your radiator breaks, they'll fix it for you. If your taillight goes out.
He did network television for so long, and then obviously extensive movie career. I'd have a hard time imagining that his net worth isn't pretty strong.
So they have to be paying this dude unbelievable money to do this. It's the most random. It's like American Home Shield, but for your car. Is what it's
Wilford Brimley of hip hop.
He is
gangster rap.
He really is. Okay, estimated net worth. Jerry, take a shot.
I'm going to say $113 million.
All right, Tug, what do you think?
I'm going to go 50.
Not bad. Y'all are all around it. So it's $65 million is the estimate, and he reportedly earned $250,000 per episode of Law and Order SVU.
Wow, dude.
So it's $6 million per season. Plus, he also has syndication royalties, and that's one of them, along with Law and Order Special Victims Unit that he is tied into. So that. He doesn't need to do it unless they paid him, what is it, Tug, a grip of money?
A grip of money, dude.
Yeah.
And I just looked up that company. I compared it to American Home Shield. This is called Car Shield that he's endorsing. So it's the same thing as his American Home Shield. It's just for your car.
From the man who brought you Cop Killer.
Exactly.
Dude, insurance money is better than anybody's.
But here's the deal. So Ice-T was a little bit older than even those guys back then.
Yeah.
He's closing in on 70 years old.
I don't think I realized that, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think about. That gosh, man, how could that be so? It just doesn't seem like it could.
You brought up Chappelle's show earlier.
Yeah.
You remember him in the skits with the pimps?
Yes. Oh my God. That's the Player Haters Club. Yeah, Player Haters Ball.
That's so good.
Oh, dude. I love that entire skit is so funny.
No doubt about it, dude. So good, so good. So anyway, music keeps popping up today, and it makes me smile because I love talking about it. Somebody I'd like to hear from, Los, that we've not heard from. I mean, there's a lot of people I'd like to hear from, under oath, by the way. Clapper, Brennan, Hillary. I'd like to drag them all in there and make them talk. I want to hear from John Durham. He's a guy that all of a sudden, with the new declassified information, the annex from the Durham report being declassified, I'd like to hear from him again. I want to know what he thinks now. I want to know what he thought then, because I don't believe. I'm not saying he wasn't honest, but I don't know that we got the full story with him.
If you need the background, so Durham ends up running that incredibly long investigation. That remember how long we were like, when's the Durham report coming out?
Yep.
When's the Durham? And it started in 2018, and it did not come out until 2021, and so. It almost feels like from reading the documents that have come out and all the information that's now getting out there for the public to consume, it almost feels like he was under the situation of you can investigate up to this point. At this point's the point where you're done.
Exactly. And I want to know.
I want to know about that interference.
I want to know who said you can't go further than this.
Or tell me I'm wrong.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
From what I'm getting the impression of.
Right. Absolutely right. But I don't think anybody has talked about that to this point. It just hit me as we were talking about people we want to hear from. I was like, that's who I want to hear from. That's the guy that he may be the person that holds the key to everything because he's seen it all.
So if you want to kind of know a little bit more, they were able with the Durham report and their special investigation, they ended up getting one guilty plea and a probation sentence. That's all they got in terms of anything related to Russian collusion. And the wild part is that by the end of his report, Durham ended up saying that he felt the FBI had been deceived by the defendants. So, okay, tell me, like, were you under the impression that the FBI and the CIA wasn't given good information, and by who? Or were they fed bad information? It's like at some point there's a disconnect there, and that's what I'd love to hear about it.
Or did they manufacture information?
It's like did he ever get the impression like this was funky?
Because thinking about that, the fact that he only got one conviction and it was nothing more than probation is letting people get away with murder. This is the biggest, and I said it earlier, and I'll say it again, and I think we've all said it once or twice. This is the biggest scandal in American history. It's bigger than maybe even the JFK murder, the conspiracy of that. And I don't think any of us believe, even though the documents have been somewhat declassified and discussed, I still don't believe we know everything. I don't believe we know everything about even Watergate. No. There's so many things in American history that we don't know about. And this is the biggest one, and it overshadows all of them.
This is still unraveling.
Yes.
This is still ongoing.
Yeah, there's no way to know what we don't know.
And what you've now created is a scenario in which case the more we find out, the more Democrats go, "Oh, it's a distraction. You're trying to distract."
Well,
like they're trying to remake the story here. Once you get the first person to roll over and talk, it's no longer a distraction. Like you're trying to get the media, like Carolyn Levitt, as you were talking about earlier in the show today, Tug. Carolyn Levitt's like, "Why aren't y'all covering any of this?"
Because they were rewarded for their coverage on the front end, knowing that it was all BS.
Yeah.
They carried the water for the Democrats and then patted themselves on the back, dude. It's the most amazing thing. You want to talk about ego. That is an ego that won't fit through the door of this studio to have to think so much of yourself. And it is apparent that the media has that. Obama has that. Clapper has it. Brennan has it.
They're very much into self-congratulations.
Boy, let me tell you. And that's why in the last segment we talked about them getting sloppy, because they never, ever, ever, ever expected Donald Trump to return to office. They did everything that they had to do, at least in their minds, to keep the American people from knowing the truth and voting him back into office. They thought it will never happen. And then it did. It's incredible. That's why they felt so comfortable doing what they were doing, Los.
So we talked about how Matt Taibbi, one of the journalists who was given the Twitter files that Elon looked at as, this guy's nonpartisan, here's who he is.
Yeah, he's not a conservative. I think that needs to be pronounced.
Yeah, he's voted Democrat in the past. In fact, his entire stance has been, the Democrat Party has moved away from him. He's not Republican, he's not conservative or anything else along those lines. So as of 5 minutes ago, he has his newest edition of August 1st, 25, America This Week. And as he puts it in, quote, Durham declassified, history's stupidest political conspiracy unmasked. He says Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, the FBI, the CIA, and the news media are all exposed as a conspiracy of dunces in another document release.
Oh, man. And he's so right. These people...
Conspiracy of dunces. I love that.
Yeah. Can you imagine the big hat?
They'll never figure this out.
No, we're so. But then they got sloppy, as we talked about with the burn bags. We talked about all the things that they do because they never expected. I want to go back and play some of this, some of the things that Hillary Clinton said.
Sure.
Because she was out front because she knew her campaign had created this. So she knew everything word for word, dude. She had the talking points down.
If anybody knew this was total BS, it would be her, because it came out of, it was all went through her campaign into a law office to be paid for the Steele dossier.
And that's why, dude, that she spoke with such conviction. She hit the ground running to spread this hoax. Listen to this.
The Russian government has engaged in espionage against Americans. They have hacked American websites, American accounts of private people, of institutions. Then they have given that information to WikiLeaks for the purpose of putting it on the internet. This has come from the highest levels of the Russian government, clearly from Putin himself, in an effort, as 17 of our intelligence agencies have confirmed, to influence our election. So I actually think the most important question of this evening, Chris, is finally, will Donald Trump admit and condemn that the Russians are doing this and make it clear that he will not have the help of Putin in this election, that he rejects Russian espionage against Americans, which he actually encouraged in the past? Those are the questions we need answered. We've never had anything like this happen in any of our elections before.
Listen to the confidence she speaks with. Now compare that to the quivering voice of John Brennan clearing his throat on MSNBC. She knew the talking points because she helped create them. She helped craft them. And now John Brennan, nervous, is spending a whole lot of time on TV trying to defend it all, and his voice quivers. The difference is so apparent to me. And then... Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I thought you were setting up that audio. I was just kind of a little bit confused there. Now, what I wanted to point out was that Hillary is saying all of this stuff knowing by the emails that the FBI has got her back on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's the crazy part about this, that the CIA and the FBI are going to have her back on it. So even though it doesn't exist, it does exist on paper. And it does exist in a way that she can talk about it confidently so that anyone who checks into it will say, well, listen, we found some stuff.
Yeah.
But there was nothing.
It was
all
manufactured.
staged.
It was all manufactured.
It's almost, I don't know if you've ever had the scenario where there's something your wife wants to do around the house and for instance, my wife yesterday, she's like, I need you to switch the clothes over from the washer to the dryer. She's like, you can take care of it so it gets dry. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I forgot for like 3 hours.
Oh, my gosh. I've done that a million times.
Okay, well, then I ran upstairs and I did it. And then when she got home and she was like, "Oh, were you able to take care of it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I had to load it up pretty good. So it's probably still, it's still. I had to restart it again." No, I didn't. I just forgot for 3 hours.
Just covering your tracks.
I was like, I'm just covering my tracks. So what she's saying is like, you'll find information, but it's bogus.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you, like my story's bogus, but I did a little something on the back end so I can cover myself.
I want to play you one more piece because the Democrats and those like my Aunt Peg, who you brought up earlier, this is what they're going to regurgitate still, and Hillary uses it to a T. Listen.
Why are, other Americans basically believing Putin? Why did Trump believe Putin more than our 11 intelligence agencies?
I don't know. Do you have a working theory?
I do have a working theory. And why is Donald Trump so enamored of Putin? Well, part of it is he's a wannabe dictator. He has told us that repeatedly. He even said the other day, let's basically get out of NATO and, encourage Putin to do what he wants to do. How absurd a statement that is cannot even be, measured because you are essentially giving a green light to a murderous, brutal dictator.
My Aunt Peg sounds like that every time we sit down. It's happened over and over again. Those were the talking points that every Democrat uses to this day. He said he was going to be a dictator from day one. Hillary was already laying the groundwork for that to be a reality. It blows me away how she was so meticulous. Look, if you're a Democrat, you'd believe her. She spoke with such confidence.
Well, do you remember where all of this comes from? And outside of just the dossier and all of this, she was dead to rights when it came to her email server.
Yeah.
It really was. She was over with. And Comey was like, well, we don't want to interfere with the election. I was like, she should have gone to jail. But if you remember, when they started bringing up Russia, Donald Trump joked during a debate, well, maybe they can go find her 30,000 emails.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
And so when she says, well, he jokes about it, I'm like, yeah, and it was funny. It was like, yeah, maybe the Russians are okay. Maybe they could find her emails.
Yeah, and
apparently y'all can't.
And then he had the other comedic line about when Hillary, his rebuttal to Hillary, talking about this man, he's unhinged. He can't be in charge of the DOJ. He was like, you're right, because you'd be in jail.
Yeah.
He knocked it out of the park there, too. And another thing that she points out in that cut we played when she was talking about the dictator stuff, she was like, he wants to pull out of NATO. He's going to give Russia just a green light to do anything that they want to on the world stage. And if you think about it, the only time Russia didn't do anything is when Donald Trump was in office. Crimea under Obama and Ukraine as we speak because of Joe Biden.
It's the only time. The only time where they weren't allowed to just kind of do whatever they felt like.
That's exactly right, man. When we come back on Extra 106.3, 9 o'clock hour brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution since 1999, 8779, southernexteriors.co. Obama level of accountability. That's the best that you can hope for. Just some sort of accountability. Got to keep your fingers crossed when it comes to Obama.
Get connected to Extra 106.3 on all your favorite apps. Then download ours and stream the station across Georgia. We're live online at extra1063.com. Stream live video from the studios on YouTube. And of course, Kimmer, Bortz, and your favorite Extra shows in crystal clear digital on the Extra 106.3 app.
Join A Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Madelon and host Tug Coward for the weekly radio show Back Your Blue. They will highlight special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. Tune in on Saturdays or catch up on all past episodes wherever you get your podcasts or at thepodcastpark.com.
No one plans on going to jail, but when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds, where we believe everyone deserves a second chance. Whether your loved one's been arrested in Cherokee, Clayton, or any of the other metro Atlanta counties in between, A Second Chance Bail Bonds works fast to help expedite release within hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT or online at atlbail.com.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to goodrx.com/GLP. That's goodrx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Securing America.
The Trump administration has set an August 8th deadline for Russia to make a meaningful commitment on ending the war in Ukraine or face additional sanctions. During a Thursday appearance on Fox News Radio's The Brian Kilmeade Show, Secretary of State and Acting National Security Advisor Marco Rubio was asked a pointed question.
Do you think Russia's in a position to confront America militarily?
Well, that's not even a fathomable thing. I mean, understand a war between the United States and Russia is not something we can ever see.
Rubio explaining further.
These are the two largest nuclear weapons militaries in the world, and the danger would just be too great.
He says he doesn't worry about a planned war.
I think what you worry more about is a skirmish or a miscalculation.
The secretary says Russia's military could not match the U.S. in a conventional conflict. Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
Fox on Film.
I'm Michelle Polino. Frank Drebin Jr. steps up to the plate to lead Police Squad in The Naked Gun. Liam Neeson stars as Drebin Jr., son of the Leslie Nielsen character that made Police Squad series and eventual movie franchise known as The Naked Gun so successful. In this sequel/reboot, Drebin Jr. follows in his father's footsteps. Do this by the book.
So a little respect. Why? Who's going to arrest me? Other cops?
Yes. Is he serious? And hilarity ensues. The film also stars Pamela Anderson. And the animated feature Bad Guys 2. The guys are struggling to find trust and acceptance in their newly minted lives as good guys when they're pulled out of retirement and forced to do one last job.
We need the bad guys for the biggest heist in history.
Maybe you don't keep up with the news, but we're good now.
By an all-female squad of criminals. That's Fox on Film on Fox News.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your Georgia headlines for Friday, August 1st. Marietta City School students head back to class today. AAA is urging drivers to practice safe driving. The recent survey reveals that 70% of Georgia drivers pass through a school zone every day, and 40% of those drivers admit to speeding through those school zones. 28% admit using cell phones in a school zone while driving. Speed cameras in school zones have been reactivated. Cobb County students go back to class on Monday. A grand jury indicted Cobb County Superior Court Clerk Connie Taylor. She's facing charges of destroying public records and violation of oath of office. Taylor allegedly pocketed thousands of dollars in passport fees and later directed an employee to delete emails related to passport revenue. She's paid the county back over $80,000 and served as court clerk in Cobb County since 2020. Today's weather cloudy with temperatures in the low 90s. We've got scattered storms again today, and those storms will be with us through the weekend. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
9 o'clock hours brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution since 1999. Windows, doors, siding, roofing, gutters, millwork. They can build a nice screened-in porch on the back of your house, and they will give you 10% off or 12-month 0% financing. SouthernExteriors.co. The website is SouthernExteriors.co. I just watched because kids are going back to school today, and haircuts are a big part of going back to school, right? You got to get the right haircut. You want to look, it will look good. You want to have the right clothes. There's a barbershop that is going viral, and apparently kids are flying across the country to go to this place. And what you do is the kids walk up, and it's like a Wheel of Fortune wheel, and they spin it, and whatever haircut it lands on is what you get.
So, oh, no.
Yeah, that's right. And, dude, I just watched about a 2-minute video during the break. And this one kid, he spun the wheel, and the man physically, because the dad was with him, he was like, the actual barber's like, we got to call your mama. Let's make sure. Let's make sure that everybody's on the same page here. They call mama. Mama's like, if you want to do it, go ahead and do it. The first kid spins the wheel, and he lands on old man haircut. So they give him the cul-de-sac cut. And I mean, he's stuck with it. And his buddy, he had a mohawk with chopped bangs. And so these two kids just paid for, dad pays for these horrible haircuts right back before they go to school. And sure enough, they leave, they leave with them. And it's so funny. The kid with the old man haircut, he looked like he could cry.
Oh, that's so great. So wonderful.
Sometimes there are consequences for decisions, and this is a good a learning lesson, I think.
Listen, I have 3 ladies in my house. I realize how important the haircut is and how it has to look. I typically try and wear hats every day, but I'm right there with, what was it? Was it Adam Sandler when he talked about the importance of a good haircut?
Yes.
When you get one, man, $1 million.
Well, that's what he said. He was like, "That's real wealth." He was like, "I love on a day when I leave the barbershop and I got me a good haircut, man, I feel like $1 million."
Yeah.
What Neon Dion say? You look good, you feel good, you play good.
It was look good, play good, pay good.
Very good. Even better.
Yeah.
Better. Yeah.
That's how it always went. I'll tell you, I got one. I got a cut on, I think it was like last Monday or Tuesday, and even when I walked in the house, my wife went, "That's a real good one." And I was like, hell yeah. I was like, thank you. Like my local barbershop down the street here, they've been taking care of me the 3 times I've been in there now.
Dude, that's awesome. I love it. I think that's something. I wish I just shaved my head these days because most of it's let loose to begin with. but back in the day, man.
Hey, have you ever considered the John Michaels, our friend down the hall with 680?
I just don't know that I can afford it.
It looks so, because now it looks more natural.
Yeah,
he went through that process. Yeah, like so. He ended up having the hair implants, where it's his own hair, and they removed it from a portion of his scalp and then replanted into an area. And for the first 2 weeks, it was the strangest looking thing. And then he went through about 2 months as it was growing in. We're still odd. Now he just looks like a normal dude.
Yeah, dude, it's unreal. It's amazing how that looks. And I would have never believed it because I've seen some hair plugs in my day. I've seen some failures, if you will. And you're like, oh my gosh, that looks worse than if you would just shave it. But John is the first time I've ever been like, oh wow,
it's like that looks strong.
The technology has come along. The ability has come around.
And he's actually, just for anybody, it's not like he's growing out some crazy long hair or some mullet or anything. No, he's keeping it high and tight.
Yep.
But like I said, short. I would say he's probably going like with a 2 guard on the sides and going a little shorter on top. But it looks well kept. It looks sharp.
He looks like $1 million.
Yeah.
I wish. I wish I could figure that one out because
I can get you a really nice toupee.
Well, look at there. See, that's what a friend does.
Get you some show hair.
Yeah,
get you that show hair. Well, but you have to wear it only for the radio show.
I want real show hair. I don't want Ronnie Dunn from Brooks and Dunn show hair that can turn crooked. I don't want that. And
where it's just got tape on the inside,
yes.
and poor Jarrah has to be like, hey, I think a piece of tape is showing on YouTube.
I know, man. You don't want that to happen. The Hollywood tape that holds it in position. No, you don't want that. And then Kix Brooks is up there just massaging it, trying to get it all right.
Trying to get it all right. Trying to comb it out a little bit.
Since this is 9 o'clock and we're sideways already.
Okay.
You're talking about hair getting sideways?
Yeah.
So, a couple of things in the WNBA this week. There was the object.
Oh, dude, the wig.
The wig, they stopped the game, and the girl ran into the locker room. You cannot stop a game for that.
I wouldn't think so either, but they did.
Well, I think if you're in for the culture, and obviously the WNBA is, let's face it, I've known quite a number of black women that wear wigs, especially as they've gotten older.
That's fine.
That's not unusual. And I think that if one falls off during a WNBA game, here's the response.
Yeah, I don't know about that, man. No, it just seems like a stretch to have to stop the game.
Do you remember Veronica, who used to work with us?
Yes, yeah, of course.
Okay.
Sweetest lady ever.
At one point, she gave me and former coworker Brian Hoyt all of her old wigs.
No, she did not.
Yes, we had a bag where there was one day where all we kept doing in between segments was putting on old Veronica wigs.
No.
Yes.
No way.
Absolutely. 100%.
How did I not hear about
it? It was
this?
awesome. Like every single segment was like, so this is my party look. Okay, this is my I'm hosting this. Yeah.
This is my show hair.
This was my show hair.
Dude.
So we were going all through the wigs the entire show, and probably for another day or so, and then before we went ahead and got rid of them, just because again she was getting rid of them. She just let us like play with them like dolls for a couple days.
Oh, is there pictures or video of this?
I don't know, probably somewhere.
God, you got to find that because I would love to see that. That's fantastic.
You're clearly going. That looks like an older black lady's hair.
Yeah,
that's what you would say.
Not yours, Lowe's.
Yeah, it's clearly not mine or not Hoyt's. No.
Or Hoyt's, yeah. So funny, man. If you want to go see the barbershop wheel, it's at Barber Chops. Barber Chops on Instagram. They're based in Massapequa, New York, and there's just all kinds of great video of kids getting these nutty haircuts. This one kid's got a checkerboard haircut. Looks like he's a big University of Tennessee fan or something. And there's plenty of the old man cuts. There's just the most rogue and random thing that looks like a mustache on the front of some kid's forehead. Dude, it's insane. At Barber Chops is where you'll find it. Los, people want to see justice served when it comes to Russiagate, especially conservatives, especially Republicans. Now, Democrats are going to pretend that it didn't happen, and the media is going to help them pretend like it didn't happen. They'll act like this is unsubstantiated, this is not real, all those things. But you got to be careful what you hope for, especially when it comes to Obama.
Yeah, and I think the challenge is going to be that how high this goes up. And then if you are going to look to do damage to Barack Obama, I think most of it has to do with this. You have to play on the idea that man wanted to be a dictator for the rest of his life in this country. That he did his 2 terms, then he was planning on being the ruler for Hillary's 3rd term. He was that for Joe Biden's, and the plan was that he was going to lead Kamala's. And so as much as we can point to presidential immunity and say he's got that, he can say that in his office, I got this information on Russian collusion. I had something written up because I was not trusting of the previous information. That's a presidential act. He's got immunity. He's taken care of. But if he does anything into January of 2017 or after, he doesn't have any immunity. And I think that's going to be the next shoe to drop if this Trump administration can find anything else like that. Otherwise, you got a perp walk, you got some embarrassment, and that's probably about it.
Yeah, for Obama. And Donald Trump, I think he's trying to, because I think he speaks with intention. You can usually listen to what he said, and he usually backs it up later down the road. When he said, Iran, you got 60 days, on day 61, here come the bombs. He is a man that speaks with purpose. The other day when he said, Obama, probably not going to be much. He probably has presidential immunity. I don't like the way that they're using it, but that's just the way it is. But these other folks don't. So I feel like if you get something, if you're lucky enough, if we're lucky enough, and Lady Justice is able to be served for Obama, then that's the icing. That's the cherry on top. Because I don't know. My heart of hearts, I don't believe they're going to get him.
Maybe I have a great disdain. Because I told you, I hate 2 things. Cancer, terrorism.
Terrorist, yeah.
But I have a great disdain for what he tried to do to this country.
Amen. Me too.
I don't care for it. I think that he ruined a large amount of people, especially even on his side. Like part of the reason why I think people have such really strong Trump derangement syndrome is in part because of how he tried to make everybody a special snowflake. And the world just doesn't treat people this way. And so whenever Trump would basically just try and tell you how it is, they lose their mind. It's just, I think he just created a mentality here. Would I love to get him? Yeah. Do I think we will? No. Can we embarrass him? Hell yeah.
Yeah, now I think that is absolutely a possibility. Just dragging him in front of a congressional hearing and making him testify under oath.
He has immunity.
Right, and so he wouldn't be able to plead the 5th.
No.
He would have to talk. And then if he didn't there, outside of that presidential immunity and can't plead the fifth, then all of a sudden there's a lot of things that you open yourself up to by not telling the truth.
Wouldn't that be so much more awesome than Donald Trump in New York having to walk out to the courtroom, courthouse steps and give a press conference, or here's the mugshot. I'd love to see that man on C-SPAN and Barack Obama having to explain himself or not explain himself. Could you imagine the embarrassment of being dragged in front of Congress because of what you were doing after your presidency?
Just the satisfaction of the American people. It might be enough. It might be enough just
that'd be a ton of flesh for me.
Because he's so smug. Because he's so above everybody else. He looks down his nose at everybody else. He's a guy that has been groomed his entire life to do what he's doing now, and he was always likable. His policies never, but to see the varnish finally removed, to see him for what he really is, a communist, a person that hated the country, and the worst president. I think he's worse than Joe Biden because he was controlling Joe Biden. So he's responsible for all of that. The worst president that the United States of America has ever had.
Tug, I would like for you to think about this. Imagine that we're all sitting around the TV. We got it on C-SPAN or Fox because obviously this would be everywhere. The popcorn bowl is there, and you're just seeing one congressman, one congresswoman after another, and they're getting their opportunity. And you look down the line and you go, there's Marjorie Taylor Greene. And you're just waiting and waiting. And now it's her turn. And she might ask a very simple question as far as, your involvement in this information. And he gets to explain himself because he has immunity, but yet he doesn't want to incriminate anything. And then Marjorie Taylor Greene just takes a moment and goes, is Michelle Obama a biological man?
It would be, dude, it would be spectacular television.
Could you just get a copy of those letters and just read them out loud to him?
Yeah,
Did you write this?
The ones down at Emory University that says he fantasizes about men.
Would you not throw the popcorn bowl in the air and be like, oh my God? I'm telling you, that is worse than prison.
Oh, I know. Because that would end. That would end everything.
That would end all of it.
That would end all of it. And, dude, you know how a long time ago on 680, they may still do it down at our sister station, The Fan, where they would do like a live stream during a game, and some of the guys
sitting around watching it.
Yeah, we would have to do an extra live stream.
We would be doing a live stream of watching a show so that you would be watching it with us. Yeah.
Call, dude, it would be like nothing that this country has ever seen ever. I mean, of all the times that we've said with politics, man, we've never seen that before. That would be the biggest. We've never seen that before.
It would be Mystery Science Theater 3000 if anybody remembers that show.
Yes, that's so great.
We'd have to have, obviously the testimony going on with us just commenting. In fact, I'd be like commercial free.
Yeah,
okay,
right.
like let's run all the spots, and we're just going to do this for like 3 or 4 hours. Is going on.
Just keep it going and keep the popcorn coming, man. And matter of fact, order some pizzas. Let's invite friends. Let's make this the biggest party ever.
It would be wild.
When we come back, Burning One with Bella, Gen Z Explained, one last time. Next on Extra.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Friday, August 1st. The Atlanta Braves played a wild one last night, scoring 8 runs in the 8th inning and then giving up 8 runs in the bottom of the inning to the Cincinnati Reds. 11-11 was the score to the game before the Braves were able to win it in 10 innings. 12-11, the final. Game 2 of the series goes down this afternoon. It'll be Bryce Elder and Brady Singer on the mound as your pitching starters. First pitch is set for 12:40 this afternoon. You can hear that game live on our sister station's brand new app, 680 The Fan. And the MLB trade deadline came and went. The Braves did not move any of their veterans on expiring contracts. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
Good morning, Mike. What you eating?
You gotta try this.
I can hear you crunching from the next cube over.
This is amazing. I just discovered it this weekend at Lidl. It's Greek Goddess Gourmet Granola. They were sampling it, so I tried it. Then I bought 6 bags.
Wow. Is it cereal?
Can be, or an amazing trail mix. It's great for a meal or a snack.
What's in it?
Well, they have 2 flavors, maple oat and harvest nut, which is my favorite. It's made with whole grain oats, almonds, pecans, raisins, coconut, and the sweet taste of pure maple syrup. Maple oat is a simpler take on their delicious granola. It's got wholesome oats, plump raisins, coconut, and maple syrup.
That sounds healthy and delicious.
That's why I can't stop crunching, Susan.
Greek Goddess Gourmet Granola. It's a breakfast or on-the-go snack you can feel good about. It's dairy-free and gluten-free, and with only 2 grams of added sugar per serving, even your belly will love it. Pick some up at Lidl, Amazon, GreekGoddessGourmet.com, or at specialty stores near you.
Are you a parent of a 2 to 8-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting offer, then head to abcmouse.com/radio to learn more. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
We're offering a promo at abcmouse.com/radio to try it for free for a month, then $14.99 per month until canceled. Go to abcmouse.com/radio to see this offer. That's abcmouse.com/radio. Actual ABC Mouse users compensated for their testimonials, sponsored by Age of Learning.
Fox 2.
I'm Michelle Polino on Netflix. The 4th installment in the true crime docu-series Conversations with a Killer, The Son of Sam tapes, examines the 1970s New York murder spree of notorious Son of Sam killer David Berkowitz and includes newly discovered prison interview footage recorded in 1980. Also on the streamer, the debut sitcom Leanne from co-creator and star Leanne Morgan, inspired by her stand-up comedy. She plays a grandmother who restarts her life after the end of her 33-year marriage. Kristen Johnson and Ryan Stiles co-star. On Peacock, Twisted Metal, the action comedy series, inspired by the Demolition Derby-themed video game franchise, returns for season 2. Anthony Mackie stars as John Doe, a former milkman with amnesia on the loose in the chaotic wasteland that was once the United States. That's Fox Tube on Fox News.
I'm Chad Pergram with the Speaker's Lobby. Office of Management and Budget Director Russ Vought has a message for congressional appropriators. Quote, the appropriations process has to be less bipartisan. Vought wants Republicans to control the process, since they are in power in the White House, the House, and the Senate. He believes this is the time to rein in spending, even without input from Democrats on Capitol Hill. Vought said he's looking to, quote, change the paradigm of the way appropriations has worked, pointing to the continued use of stopgap spending bills. It's unclear how a partisan appropriations process actually funds the government without triggering a government shutdown. That's because you need 60 votes to avoid a shutdown. Senate Majority Leader John Thune said Vought's assertion, quote, runs contrary to the Senate's mathematical reality. Republicans need Democratic support to avoid a shutdown when the current stopgap funding bill expires on September 30th. Quote, we plan to move bills that will have cooperation from the Democrats, said Thune. Vought says no voter in the country cast their ballot on a bipartisan appropriations process. With the Speaker's Lobby, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
Don't let your afternoon drive get bogged down with traffic and weather breaks. Just enjoy the Kimmer Show from 3 to 6 p.m.
They hide behind their keyboard. They hide behind this. They accuse everybody else in social media doing that. But so many of these so-called journalists will only speak their mind or show any balls when they're anonymously behind something. But when they're face-to-face with somebody, they're meek little mice.
Don't worry. It's only the Kimmer on Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
I have something I need to say. I have something
Oh, you know that music. That means it's time to burn one with Bella. But we have some news about the segment. It's been the last time you hear this segment ever. It's happy and sad at the same time. Am I losing? I don't hear Bella. You got Bella?
You got me?
There we go.
Oh, I'm on.
There we go.
I know it's sad.
I know it is. Front office Los.
They fired Bella.
That's been crazy. It's nuts.
I was not fired.
Who knew that was because she's been smoking those vapes?
Yeah, turns out she was.
That's why I got
She
fired,
was
guys.
dealing in the office, and so
I had a business going on, and they found out I was dealing. That's exactly why I was fired.
She was selling feet pictures in the lobby.
Oh, not the feet finders.
Yes, that's exactly right. And I understand that Kimmer was her biggest customer.
Oh, wait. I thought you were going to say something else.
What?
No.
Yeah. So you are moving on though.
I am. I'm moving to the Republican state.
Yeah. No, but she's going to deep red country. She's moving.
Yeah.
Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and we're so happy for her, so proud of her for all that she's done here at Extra 106.3 and across the hall at 680 The Fan at Dickey Broadcasting Company. Tell everybody where you're at.
I'm working for Fort Lauderdale United FC, so it's the team for the USL League, which is United Soccer League, and it's right under US Soccer in terms of ranking. The girls are a little higher than the men, but the men are under MLS. So I'm doing both, and as well as their academy. So I would like to compare them to kind of like an IMG, essentially, to what they're trying to build of them. Doing all these soccer camps, and, we do like kids camp, and they work with a local charity. So I'll be doing social media for them, which is really cool. I'll be a social media coordinator and sponsorship marketing coordinator. So I have a double title, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that's fancy, Lo.
Yeah, so I'll be working with major teams on like social media collabs, like the Dolphins, the Marlins, South Florida sports teams down there.
Bella, if Tug would actually finish watching Welcome to Wrexham, he would have so much of a better idea as to what you're doing. The idea of the academy and how where it is on the pecking order of the professional squad. Yeah, it's.
I'm working on it. I'm getting there.
I think he's 4 episodes in.
You're 4 episodes in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, soccer is just booming, and so there's a lot of growth in it. I mean, unfortunately for women's sports, the WNBA is kicking off now, but especially with women's soccer, they're trying, basically the United Soccer League is trying to create what the NFL is here. They're trying to create a league here that's so popular that women don't have to go overseas and play. So Boston just got a team. New Jersey just got a team. Like, Brooklyn has a team. Dallas Trinity FC has one. Lexington, Kentucky has one. So a lot of states are grabbing FC teams. And I wouldn't, I'll put it out there in the universe. I wouldn't be shocked if Atlanta creates one.
Makes sense, Los. When you have successful leagues, because look, the WNBA has never been that.
Yeah,
and that's a problem. I'm guessing, I'm assuming, because I don't know about the league that you're talking about very much.
Yeah,
they must be making money if they're expanding.
Yeah,
and because they don't have the NBA, Los, and you probably elaborated on it more than anybody. They don't have the NBA money to cover up $40 million worth of loss every year.
They have a lot of sponsorships. Like Delta's behind us, the Croix is behind us. We're the only few FC teams with a stadium, which is pretty cool. So I get to travel for those games, and I'll be doing social media. So I'm excited for an uncomfortable change, but I'm working for a team, and I kind of always wanted to go that route. So I'm kind of excited to explore working for a direct corporation within a team.
Yeah, as it stands right now, you do have women's soccer and women's volleyball that are exploding.
Yeah, they have a volleyball team too.
Exploding.
It is, yes.
And so you've had these leagues that have been available overseas. Like we have 2 here in Atlanta, and the starting salary is right on par with the WNBA.
Yeah,
and actually tracks.
And they're younger.
And they actually have to be profitable in order to do it. The NBA ends up basically covering for any of the WNBA's losses, whereas the soccer leagues and the volleyball leagues, they have to be productive in order to meet these salaries. And so that's where there's a lot of optimism in the business community, what you're getting when you get involved with them.
And
I love it.
Yeah, and what's also crazy is that I would say the WNBA has been around so much longer, but you haven't, for me, it wasn't until big names are going in. And I feel like with soccer, since I wouldn't say it's a rich person sport, but I will say
soccer. No, it's definitely not.
But there's a lot of more funding behind it, so there's more. I feel like the growth is kind of what the NBA was at. Soccer's catching up a lot quicker, especially volleyball too. They have a volleyball team too that's booming. So it's going to be interesting to see the growth, because everyone with the Copa soccer, you saw that didn't really do fantastic in Atlanta, but people love soccer. Atlanta United games are crazy.
Yeah,
people love soccer.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because you talked about the big names going to the WNBA, and the difference is the WNBA, they give their biggest stars a hard time. They make it impossible for their biggest stars. Caitlin Clark. They take punches at her. Like, could you imagine if LeBron James was treated the way Caitlin Clark is treated?
I know.
It would never happen, ever. I've just never seen a league shoot themselves in the foot intentionally. They despise their biggest star.
Yeah, and also too, I don't want to say they pin women against each other, but I will say there's like that rivalry between.
Well, there should be.
Angel Reese and
y'all are territorial to begin with, Bella. Let's not act like that's not how it is.
Even.
I mean, you moved into an apartment and already started a fight with a woman. What do you think is going to happen? You're going to get down to Florida and it's going to be like, wow, Bella's already that crazy.
Apartment card, that's crazy.
I'm just saying that y'all are by nature. You can't help it. You're pre-wired for this. It's part of your motherly instinct.
So are men. Just so you know, you guys are so competitive.
Y'all are territorial.
Competitive, very different than territorial.
Yes, competitive is different than territorial.
I think that's like the more of like the naturing, like I don't know, like
yes, it's why the mama bear makes sure to eat and fight off other bears.
Very, it's like I think like a motherly woman thing.
I love the way she pivots. That's a good pivot.
But the one thing I will say though is
you're crazy. All women.
That's that's crazy coming from you.
Oh, I know. Well, listen, I'm not trying to reject it at any point. I know what I am. I'm nuts. I'm just saying you need to indulge in it.
We've got our own, Los, if I'm not mistaken, we've got our own Keely Jones. That's what we're going to have.
Okay.
You remember Keely from Ted Lasso?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I've never seen it.
You never watched Ted Lasso?
No.
Okay, well then look.
I know this character.
Yeah.
I know this character.
She was kind of the marketing, social media.
Right.
Yeah, she handled all that on the show and became a huge part of the show. She was a huge character in the show. And so we're going to give you that title, our own Keely Jones.
I mean, I know Kimmer's going to miss me.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
Oh, we're going to miss you. We're the only ones who are giving you regular airtime.
Oh, my God.
Not as much. We won't miss you as much as
I'm
Kimmer.
going to miss you guys, but I was so scared to tell Kimmer. I know you guys would be sad and like wish me well. Kimmer like almost had a meltdown.
Jeez.
Did you see the video on Facebook?
No, but you can't give the man a heart attack. I mean,
I know. I was so nervous to tell him.
Where else is he going to get his feet pics?
That's right.
I know. I had to follow him on Facebook the other day.
You said unfollow him?
I had to follow him.
Oh, got it. I got you. So you could just
I'm not like super active on my own Facebook account.
Yeah.
And my family was like, "Did you see a video that was put up of you?" And I go, "What are you talking about?"
Oh, no.
Just my feet and my face.
And my dad goes, "Yeah, I think it's like one of the older guys on the conservative talk show." I was like, "Who?" He's like, "Kim." I'm like, all right. I'm like, Kimmer?
Yeah,
and
that's probably it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so I go on Facebook and I see it. It's like 0.5x, like the camera. You know how like you can change like the
zoom?
The zoom, the vision on it. He painted in 0.5, so it's like my giant forehead and like little body.
Oh,
and he's like, you can't leave, you can't leave, you can't leave.
Well, just like now you're connected on social, you can just
I know, now I can forever see Kimmer.
Well, message him.
And his horse videos.
Well, right, and pics.
He loves those horses.
Yes, he does. He does love horses.
He did text in on the Kimmer hotline.
Already?
Yeah, and he wants to know if the price is still the same for the feet pics. Is that going down now that you're going to the new
Is it moving up or down?
How
What's
does that
the
work?
prize? What do you mean the prize?
Well,
price.
Oh.
The price of them that he charges. Or that you charge.
Kimmer, they're going to be more expensive.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because it's supply and demand.
Supply and demand, correct.
You're not here in the office.
I'm not here. He won't see my toes in sandals.
Oh, it's so fun.
And the fact that he knows, it's almost the way that they were working the whole Russiagate, right? And now Kimmer's jumped in with new evidence that makes sure that she looks guilty.
Listen, I think Bella should really be driving a hard bargain here. She's like, I'm going to Florida. I'll be in sandals. The feet will be tanned up.
All the time. My dogs will be out on the sidewalk.
That's right. It's like at that point the price goes up for those.
That's exactly right.
Oh, I know.
And you'll have to keep your pedicure done.
Oh yeah, I'm getting a pedicure before I go down there. For sure.
Yeah, of course you are. I mean, why would you not? That'd be crazy. Go down there with just all mangled.
I'll be living
up
vacation
toenails.
style every day.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Sweet.
Headed down, Bella. We wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you.
Love you, Bella. You're awesome.
Love you too. Wow.
The future is bright for our own Keely Jones. Bella. We love her. Burning One with Bella. Bella! Is right. We're all just hollering your name. She had taken her headphones off. There you go. 9 o'clock hour brought to you by Southern Exteriors, home exterior solutions since 1999. 8779 Southern, southernexteriors.co for Los and Bella. and Jeray. I'm Tug. Y'all come back now. You hear?
Live and local news talk continues at 3 p.m. with Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder. It's the Kimmer Show, only on Xtra 106.3 and the Xtra app.
Check, check. I can hear. Can anybody hear me? I can't hear ESPN.
Check, 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 check. 1, 2, 3.
Uno, dos, tres.
Can you hear us? Check,
I
check,
can
check.
hear.
Awesome. How you doing, man?
Doing well. Great to work with you.
You as well. Thank you for doing double duty today.
No, I hear a little bit of an echo. Do you guys hear that?
It's probably just from our Q speaker in here.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Can you hear home team?
Yeah, I hear home team perfect. Home team, what's up, man?
How you doing, brother?
Good to work with you, bro.
Yeah, coming right out of our show. We ended it.
Yeah, settle in. I got you.
Okay.
I'll get you settled in, okay?
Yeah, I got the rundown, so we're good to go. Let's have some fun.
Let's do it.
There we go. Got to put you guys in for the update right here.
Okay.
This is SportsCenter.
Good morning, I'm Doug Brown. The first game of the NFL preseason dominated by the Chargers 34-7 in Canton, Ohio against the Lions. Most of the starters for both teams sitting out. Trey Lance throws for 2 scores for the Chargers. Before kickoff, a moment of silence for the victims of Monday's mass shooting in New York. The shooter was targeting the NFL. The Braves beat the Reds in Cincinnati 12-11 in 10 innings. It was a 3-3 tie in the